Hello and welcome to another episode of Grange TV. We have with us a very, very special guest today, the undisputed, defending, and current featherweight champion of the world, Mr. Alex Volkanovski. Welcome. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I always love the intros, mate. It's always good, you know. You keep forgetting again. Whenever I'm home, I'm just me, right? I'm just daddy, whatever. And then you come and do these, and it's like you're disputed champion of the world. Now, woo!
Do you still spin out about that? The
What?
fact that you are the champion?
Well, you do because again, like I'm just a man. It's something I always say. I'm just a regular bloke, right? Like, and I'm not. I don't try to be, I don't think of myself, he's a superstar or anything like that. I'm just me, man. When I'm home, I'm just me. I forget about everything else a lot of the time. So, but then obviously there's a lot of times in things like this, and obviously media, and when you're out in public and all that, you sort of remember. But it's good, man. Obviously appreciation because you all the hard work is starting to pay off. You know what I mean? So it's good. But me, I'm always going to be me, man. I don't know if I'm just different to everyone else, but I'm just me. 24/7.
Was it because, something I was lucky enough, similar to Rob, like I was able to watch your career
Mm-hmm.
the whole way through. Like you fought friends of mine through throughout your career coming up, and
Yeah.
like we were talking about the other day at training, like I remember you as as a kid wrestling. You trained with Blake
Yep.
Barton, who I've coached since he was a little kid. So it's always been like that thing. So I've always had the pleasure of following your career. I remember you used to come up and spar at TP gym,
Mm-hmm.
but back in the day. And so that, like, I was able to watch that whole progression,
Yep.
and so one of the questions, and I think we touched on it before, um, there was obviously a stage there where you were already now a grown man. You obviously were talented and you were doing well, but there was a stage where you were in your mid 20s, not making a great deal of money,
Mm-hmm.
not signed with a big company. What was going on in your mind, man?
Yeah,
I
that
always
was
think this every time I see
yeah,
you,
yeah.
honestly.
Well, it's tough because again, it's not very financial forgiving, especially fighting on the local scene and all that. You're chasing the dream, right? Because you're struggling otherwise. So you're doing whatever you can to chase that dream, but it's not easy. It's tough, and especially when luckily you got the supportive wife and all that, and they're going through the journey with you. But we're struggling. You know what I mean? It was hard, but you just again when you believe in it, you just got to stick to your guns and commit. And I did, and I'm glad I did because it's obviously all starting to pay off now. And but it was tough. It really was tough. There was a time, as you said, where I was even pound for pound number one in Australia at the time. Outside of UFC, world title, PXC world title, all the national titles in Australia. Fighting in all different divisions, getting knockouts, doing everything. A decent following as well. Everyone trying to, doing campaign after campaign to get me in, and it just wasn't happening. And it was tough. It was really tough. But luckily, I always try and stay positive, and always, when something goes wrong, I always tell myself, all right, maybe it's meant to be, and I'll look at the positive and channel it in the right direction, and then just keep driving forward. So I was lucky enough to do that, and again, lucky enough to have such a supportive wife as well.
What do you attribute the fact that you didn't get into the UFC, and also because you're a very likable dude?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like he actually is a likable guy. So
Thanks, mate.
yeah.
Appreciate that.
But what do you attribute? You think the fact that you don't have as big a following necessarily as
Mm-hmm.
other guys do,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't seem to, for whatever reason, and I don't understand this, have the like you've got your hardcore fans that follow you,
Yep.
but there's a lot of people that aren't showing you the love I believe that you deserve. You know what I mean? Like, but here in Australia, you always had like a cult following.
Mm-hmm.
But why was it so hard for you to get into the UFC when you had such an impressive resume, and there were guys getting into the UFC then and now
Yep.
that you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like,
know exactly what you
no
mean.
disrespect to
No,
them,
no,
you know.
100%. I know exactly what you mean, and the time, man, it's timing as well. Back then, it was very, very hard to get in the UFC. There was a stage where the only chance to get in, they weren't signing anyone. Only, if someone got injured and they had to, if they were desperate to sign someone, like because there was an injury, and then they'll just get a local guy from the same country. Say if there was an event in Australia, they'll just get a local guy, and that's how they were doing it. So that's how they kept signing people because there was a stage where they had a full full uh, like they had too many fighters. They'll had to get rid of people every time they bring people in, they had to get rid of people. That's how full it was. So that was hard. That was the timing of it was just difficult. So Joe Silver was the one that we were talking to at the time, and he was trying to get me in. There was even a time where he tried to get me in because there was an injury, and there was a management company that I wasn't with at the time, and I think they were trying to get me in the UFC. Maybe I think maybe our guys were saying, "Look, if you get Alex in the UFC, we'll sign with you." But nothing happened. So I think they tried, and then nothing happened. Then the UFC, Joe Silver went back to that management because they sort of, talked to them.
They affiliated themselves to
exactly, pretty much. So he's like, "Oh, I'll go back to them," and then they end up saying, "Oh no, he's fighting for a title. He's locked in there. I've got this guy," and then try to get one of their own guys in. Yeah, man. So Joe Silver, well, I was the first guy that they wanted on. And they wanted to sign me.
I remember this vaguely. Yeah. I remember this whole thing. Yeah.
And then so I got robbed of this crazy opportunity. And that was tough. Again, it was
so that was
tough,
real.
mate.
Look, I'd heard rumors about that. I'd heard a rumor about that.
So I end up how I got told about it was Richie not Richie Vast, other Richard Walsh. Richard Walsh was in the UFC, and then they found out about the injury, and then he ended up being like, "Oh, Alex, you got to get Alex in." Like, obviously there was a lot of people, like you said, everyone was like, "Fuck, when's Alex going to get in this UFC?"
Yeah, absolutely.
So they were like, "Mate, you got to get Alex on." He goes, "Oh, we tried, but the management company told us that he's fighting for another title, so we've got someone else." So this was after all that already happened, and he told me that, and I'm like, "What?" I'm freaking out. You can imagine how, this is everything to me. Yeah, this is everything to me. This is the opportunity you're looking for. This opportunity I've been waiting for like 2 years. It was 2 years, it seemed like.
And those 2 years you were waiting. But the 10 years that you'd been training and busted your head. And
exactly. Yeah, there was getting me to a stage where I was ready, or like, we'll push it for the UFC. And then I was there. And then I had to wait 2 years while I was there, if you get what I'm trying to say. So that's sort of how it was. And just hearing of that opportunity, again, like it's tough. Like, how do you stay positive through something like that? But I just told myself, oh, maybe it wasn't meant to be, I don't know. Like, you just, again, whatever it is, maybe I was going to lose, and then, it was going to, be worse for me. Maybe there's a better opportunity coming forward. So I just stuck to it. At least they know of me. They know now that I'm not signing anyone, because I was fighting for a title when I was going to fight Jamie Malarkey.
I remember.
And so I was signed for that, but I had a clause saying if UFC get me, I'm going, like, and that was specifically for that.
But. Yeah, all the smaller promotions have that, like, understanding.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
No one, like, that I've heard of ever is going to say, look, if you're the champion of this organization, like a relatively local organization, you can't fight in the UFC. You have no people fighting there.
Yeah.
Exactly, what I mean? So that's I'd heard the rumor about that, but
that was true. That was legit. That happened.
Of course, I didn't, like, as well, like, when you hear stuff, I don't even ask, because loose lips sink ships, you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't, but I was just like, fuck, really? And then now I know it's true.
Yeah, that's true. So that was, even then, like, this happened the week before I was fighting as well. So I was about to fight. So that's why I even had this fight at that time, because I wanted to be on weight. So I was fighting. So if an opportunity come, I was already on weight. So that's why we made sure I was fighting on AFC the same time as the UFC was in Australia. So, we structured everything so that would come into play if we got the call up. So I had to fight knowing that I just got robbed of this crazy opportunity. And that was against Jamie Malarkey. And again, like, obviously I train with him now, and he's a cool dude, but I wasn't happy. So I had something to prove, and I was pissed off. So there was one time you probably see me pretty angry after the fight.
I remember that fight.
Yeah.
I remember the fight. And Jamie's a great kid.
Yes, he is.
I like him a lot. Shout out to Jamie Malarkey. I wish him the very best in his career. He's a really, really good guy. What do you attribute that self-belief? Like, and I don't mean, like, people say, I mean, you can say whatever you want. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what I'm kind of getting at, when people say stuff like, oh, I don't fucking know. I you know what I mean? Like, it's like but what's the in real, because people say that, like, you got to believe in yourself always, but they don't, but it's the same person that's sitting there not actually ever doing anything with their life. Like, it's easy to say, yeah, no, try a business. What doesn't matter. What's the worst thing that can happen? And the worst thing that can happen is you lose 50 fucking grand that you don't have. That's the worst thing that can happen. It's only money. No, like, dude, it's fucking, when it's your money, it's real.
Yeah.
So what do you attribute in real time you keep going because you, like you said, you had a wife. She's supportive.
Mhm.
My wife is super supportive. Like, you know, she does everything. But there's also like a pressure as a man that you feel like
Yep.
you still feel that. You know what I mean? Like I still understand. Like as supportive as my wife is, I still have to do.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying, and this is a tricky one for me because I'm learning so much about myself every time I do podcasts, whatever it is. I start explaining things, and I start realizing like, how am I me? How am I a UFC champion? What made me me? What made me be able to do this? So, and I'm learning more and more every day. I honestly am because I am just a regular bloke from a small town. I don't know any different. Like, I don't know what some people probably already know. And so I started like thinking about like, what made me this guy that just does not give up, that keeps moving forward, and it just goes from, I think I was lucky enough where my life, like whether it's the way I was raised and, something maybe what was built when I was young, or was it just built in me? I don't know, but it's something that, that never die attitude, never give up, and always find a way out, always adapt to whatever's in front of you, and keep moving forward, and doing that at a young age. Whether I was taught from my father or whatever, I don't know, but I've just always been like that. So if I'm versing someone twice the size of me, football, wrestling. When I was wrestling, I remember I was 12 years old wrestling guys because I was always heavier set, guys twice my age. But I mean, like I would just, I'm not going to cower. I'm like, oh, how do I beat them? I'm just going to find a way to do it, no matter what's in front of me. So constantly doing that your whole life, whether it's through work and even little things like fighting through injuries and all these little things that you're doing, adversities you're going through life, really does like molded me, I believe, into what I am now today. I didn't know that when I was growing up. I don't know what is, but now I understand why. And, this is something that I feel like I could maybe teach people, like, what I mean?
how does that reflect on you as a father when you see your daughters?
It's exactly right. So again, these are things that I did not know. Now I'm like, one thing I love about martial arts, this is a good example of what I'm trying to say, is especially with my children's book that I'm doing. People ask,
Talk
why
about
do you
your
want to do it?
children's
Oh,
book.
there you go, my children's book. Why am I doing it? It's a different side of MMA that we don't see. Not only the hard work, discipline. You would know, being a coach, it's not easy.
No.
It's tough. There's a lot of sacrifices, a lot of hard work, discipline, respect, all that type of stuff that it gets missed in the media and all that. People don't get to see that, and I understand it, but that's just, it's a side of the MMA people don't get to see. We've got some of the best role models in this sport that people just will never know, really, because that's not what people are trying to push, right? But not only that, building resilience and being durable, all these things that you learn in the gym, or like even being put in bad positions, as I'm saying, like me losing in the gym. There's going to be times where you know things aren't going to go. There's going to be a little bit of adversity in the gym because you're going to be in an uncomfortable position. Do I just give up and cry about it, or do I find a way out of it? And you doing that, I think, at a young age can really teach you tools that are going to be very useful in life. Life experiences and through life. So not only will it help in your sports and all that, I think it can really help with life in general, because there's going to be times where things get uncomfortable. There's going to be times where things aren't going to go your way. Do we fold? Do we cry about it? Do we just crumble, or do we make it work? Do we accept it and let's find a way around it? And I feel like being in the gym, I'm doing that time and time again. And I'm lucky enough where growing up, I believe, I don't even remember much as a kid. I look back and I know who I sort of was and what type of guy I was, and I build it all together. And I really do think that, I was lucky enough to be in positions and have a sort of at a young age, the headspace, or not headspace, but that mind frame of, I don't know if it was just because I just a blockhead and just when I was playing football, just get the ball and run straight, or whatever it is. Maybe that's I don't know what made me who I was. It was just all that, but what made me do that at a young age? Again, maybe it was my family, maybe it was how I was raised, like little things like that. Obviously, my dad being a European, and them coming from nothing, and then trying to give us everything, all the opportunities we could, and hard work, again, it's an easy way of putting it when I just say hard work. It goes so much deeper than that. But
Yeah.
But just again, just do what you got to do to make sure you can move forward.
I think it's actually David and I both, we come from educational background. We actually grew up together, David and I.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were in high school together. We ended up working at TAFE together, but not like even like we didn't mean to thing. It just fucking happened that we ended up working at TAFE. And I listen to Tim Ferriss' podcast a lot, which I strongly recommend for people. And he had somebody on there, I can't remember who it was. I'm hopeless at remembering like people's names, but they were talking about the restructuring of education as we move forward. And like a lot of the stuff that they're teaching in schools. And I'm not one of the people to say school's shit, it's blah, 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 because there's a lot of really good positive things that come from school. But I feel that a lot of the stuff that goes missing is the space between the notes and make some music. So you learn to read, write, count, whatever. But I think there's more important things that you learn is like how to interact with people. Like when to keep your mouth shut. If you mouth off to the year 12 kid and you're in year 8 and you're going to get fucking put in a bin and eat shit for it, you know what I mean? And you deserve it, you know what I mean? And it's a lesson you have to learn. But this guy that he had on that was a super smart guy, way smarter than me. Please, somebody find the podcast and share the link because I don't know who it is. He said that moving forward, some of the things that we need to teach our kids and really focus on is adaptability, confidence, and resilience. And here's because now a kid can get the answer to something on their phone like this. But you need that confidence and the resilience and the adaptability to be able to reinvent yourself, reinvent your career. And our parents' generation, you could be an accountant for 50 years, you know what I mean? Whereas I've already had like 2 or 3 careers. You know, you're probably going to have 3, 4 careers in your life as well. And when you talk all the stuff you talk about, your children's book, everything, it's like the resilience to keep going. And I think that mano sports like boxing, wrestling, judo, jiu-jitsu, they're very definitive, and it's only you. And you sink or swim, and even if you sink, you learn. If that makes sense.
And that's exactly what I was talking about. So these are little tools that are going to be hard to sort of get unless you get them life experience. Whether I'm saying that, like, again, I'm just going to talk from what I know experience because I'm a fighter. People, I'm a martial artist, so I'm just going to go that route. I'm going to talk about it because I'm not going to sit there and say that this is how you go into business. Think like this. I don't know. But when it comes to what I do, I feel like being in the gym, and you would see it time and time again through coaching. You know what I mean? Some of the things that we have to put ourselves through, the sacrifices and all that type of stuff, and the respect, and being at the gym on time. All these little things these are little tools that you're going to need in life. And then you get things like where, again, it goes so much deeper than me, the way I'm putting it. It's just accepting uncomfortable positions and all that type of stuff. I know it might be different in the business world, but
is it? I don't think
well,
it is.
No,
man.
it's not. It's not. But I mean,
is.
it's maybe it's not as painful, But
it's
I mean,
painful if you lose.
It's painful in the head.
A lot of money.
Yeah, well, exactly. You know what I mean. So these are, again, it's still, again, there's adversities. You're going to go for adversities all the way through life. So we need to experience that at a young age.
Are you going to put your daughters in martial arts?
Well, they already are. They're already doing 3 and 5. So they're already doing the Warriors class at the gym. And
that's awesome.
It's just, again, it's like I've seen guys come through the gym, and you would know yourself that were troubled. They went to the gym, and like you could tell just from having a conversation, like what type of their mentality and how they thought and all that, their thought process and who they thought they were, all this type of stuff. And I've seen it completely change within a week.
Yeah, 100%.
Whether it's just to us, maybe they just like, oh, I can't be like that here. Oh, Joe's going to fix me up, well, whatever it is. But within, like, I've seen them completely do 180s and be some of the nicest people I've ever met. And I remember the first time I met him, I'm like, look at this idiot, like the way he's carrying on. Again, I don't judge people like that, but I'm like, but
you know what? There's a thing as well, like, that you're acting like an idiot. Do you get what I mean? Or if you don't know, it's not being judgmental.
Yeah.
You're saying, mate.
Well, I'm telling them you're all right now, but you were an idiot.
Yeah, fucking oath. But that's what people need.
Exactly right.
You know what I mean? Look, you don't know if you don't know.
And look, this is something like with Joe. A good example is the story that we talk about. Whether he's going to like me talking about it on.
No one listens to this. Man. My mum and I think the neighbors. That's it.
But with Joe, like this, one of the guys that come in, and again, like he probably didn't think much of it, but I mean that was probably just how he talked to people, and he was grappling with Joe. And he's like, and he started like, being not lippy, but being cheeky and being disrespectful. He's like, oh, man, you couldn't do that if I did this. And he's like, what? And then Joe ended up giving him a good slap on the mat. And he's like, what? And then I even remember Joe even saying to him, the story goes a bit more than that, but he then ends up telling him, goes, I've got a 14-year-old that would kick your ass, like, watch your mouth type thing. Like, sort of trying to talk to him, but, it was like how do you say it? Like, it was very straightforward because Joe can be forward. He's going to tell you how it is. And I remember, like, he's like, well, took him by surprise. He was like, oh, okay, I can't act like that around here. The next day or a couple of days later, he ended up getting that 14-year-old that Joe was talking about. He ended up grappling him and fixed him up. And then he even goes to Joe, goes, is this the 14-year-old you were talking about? And then Joe's like, yeah, that's him. And then, like, honestly, like, you would see complete changes. I've seen it time and time again through the gym. And again, that's why I think, martial arts, I think there's a lot of sports. I think sports in general are just, that's what it's good. But it's always good for everybody. But again, it's just, do you ever hear people talk about this, or do you see this side of MMA out there? You know what I mean?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Well, I do. But I'm in a very.
What about for a casual fan?
No, I don't think so. Because like when you're asking me,
Dolly's going through the window.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
All this type of stuff, shit talking, because this is how you got to be. Yeah, this is the way you got.
That's
to be.
what I mean.
I understand that it's a business, and I respect it 100%. But that ain't me.
Yeah, no.
And one thing that I love about it is, people can say, again, I'm just a regular guy, like just a regular guy that any one of these guys, people were telling me from the start, you need to go here, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to act like this, you need to do this. I'm like, no, I'm going to do it my way. Yeah. And I got to do it my way. So I'm doing it for the underdogs. I'm showing these guys that no matter who you are, where you're from, you put your mind to it, you can achieve whatever you want through the hard work and all that type of stuff. So that's just something that, I'm proud of anyway. But again, it's a side of MMA that doesn't really get pushed. But that's why I love my children's book. I think it's just showing a different side to MMA that people.
And it spins me out that it's not something that's shown, because it's so applicable. Like there's so much more that you can learn and I don't know. Like, but to me, it's I understand people watch that. Like if I go mad now, like if I go mad and I just break up everyone's cars on the street, I will become famous. If we YouTube it and this and that, but it's eventually it's somewhat short-lived, you know what I mean? And I think even that has to be something where it's what people wanted at that particular time. It went viral, and you might have made a lot of money off it or whatever, but it's not something that's going to be, I don't believe, long lasting.
And we understand why people are doing it. We understand how it works. That's all good. Again, like I'm not hating on people that do that, but I mean, just don't expect that to be the if you're an MMA fighter, this is the blueprint. This is what you got to do. Yeah, and that's what people literally think. But I understand it. Again, I totally understand all that. I get it. But again, it's just not me. But one thing that, let's be real, who do we really always remember? Fucking winners.
100%.
Who are the best athletes in the world? The people that win. You read Kobe Bryant's book. It's not about talking shit or anything like that. So all he to get, I'll do all these little things to win. I'm just a winner. Whatever I need to do to win. And people absolutely love that. He's known for that. That mentality of just what do I need to do to win? You know what I mean? And like people are always going to respect winners. And people are always going to remember the winners. Look at your GSPs. Everyone that's always been all right, kept their mouth shut. They just went out there and did their thing and been the best. And everyone's going to always remember them guys. How many times do you see guys that fast-tracked it to the top because they're doing big flashy knockouts and talking the trash and all that? It's fun. Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy it. And then they lose, everyone forgets about them like that. You know what I mean? So then because we're going to remember winners. So that's why I get people tell me how we go. I don't care. I'm going to keep winning. Love it or hate it, I'm here to stay.
When people talk about that, they go, they talk like, say, for example, about McGregor. And I'm like, but McGregor can actually fight.
And he's a winner. Yeah, exactly.
He can actually fight, whether you like him or not.
People miss that as well.
He can actually fight. Like, there's dudes that are just talking shit. And I think, like, but you're not working like, and I'm not neither a McGregor fanboy nor not. I'm nothing. Like, I think he's very good and he's very talented. But I think, like, dude, are you really, like, this guy actually works. Like, he might talk all the shit you want and everything. But if you watch him, like, he's very strategic how he fights, and he can fight.
Yeah,
there's no fucking question. Could he have been fast tracked? Yes, no. That's a different story.
Yep.
But the dude can fight.
He was backing it up as well.
Yeah, he's fighting.
He was like the perfect formula,
and it came at the right time.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
Yep.
And so I think like when I see people and I think like, dude, you're just talking shit, and exactly what you're saying, that'll be done.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose, and nobody's
Exactly
gonna
right.
know.
And you see it time and time again. Like, and again, it's I understand it, so I'm not hating
No,
on this. You
I
know,
get the
so
thing.
I get it, but I mean, you know, do I need to just change who I am? You know, mate, this ain't WWE. For me, like I've got nothing wrong. I actually like WWE, but this ain't what I do. I'm a fighter. I'm gonna be me. And again, like whether people like it or not, it doesn't matter. I ain't gonna change for nobody. Again, and that's something that I'm proud of. And you know, again, not many people can say that, you know, they got to be themselves the whole way through the process right to the top. And you know, so again, it's something I'm proud of, and something that, hey, it's just again, it is all a business, and we all know it. But again, we need the nice guys, we need the bad guys, we need the funny guys, you need everyone. You know what I mean? If
100%.
everyone was just doing that same blueprint that I'm telling you, you'd get over it fucking real quick. I'm already over it, but
Yeah.
not really. I get it, but again, when it's genuine, we all love it. We all appreciate it. But when it's not, when you see it's just all rehearsed and all that, you're like, you roll your eyes. Anyone that's got a half decent idea just rolls their eyes. But Conor McGregor, that's just him, and he does it well. And when we were talking about that formula, the timing was a part of that formula.
100%.
Everything, the timing of when he was there, his skill, and even the level he was at the time, even when it comes to opponents. Again, like, people don't give him credit for what he knew. Like the setups he was doing to get these knockouts, they just need knockouts. But he was setting them up. He was, you know, he was trapping these guys into positions, and he was making that happen pretty much. You know, so there's so many things. So he was ahead of the game at the time. So it was a good time for him to be where he was, and then just, you know, that perfect formula. He knew how to talk, just everything about it. So, mate, again, good on him. You know, obviously he's done some crazy things where, you know, that's not me. I don't like that shit. But at the same time.
But these separate things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But for what he's done for the sport, you've got to appreciate what he's done for the sport.
The other thing is, if you are not McGregor and you throw that dolly through the fucking bus, you will go to jail and never fight in the UFC again.
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
Like, we know that.
Like, if say, for example, two unknown guys have the brawl that him and Khabib had, dude, you could be sanctioned, you'll get locked up, you will never fight again. Khabib and him, they'll fight again.
Yeah, exactly.
They might not fight each other, but they fought again.
It's funny. They're like going, oh, all right, like, you know, trying to, you know, oh, we need to calm everyone down. Oh, worst thing, you know, this is terrible. Rather, the next time each one of them fight, they're hyping up fights with with the dolly through the window, with the fight. You know, they're amping it up. But again, look, man, there's you know, business is business. There's going to be
100%.
ways to do things, and that's just how the world works. So if you're going to bitch and cry about it, get behind. But you know what I mean? Again, I understand it. You know, people say, oh, it's not working for me in certain ways or whatever. I was like, I don't give a fuck. I understand it. But I'm making it work anyway. Why? Because I'm a fucking winner. I'm going to keep winning.
100%.
My French.
Yeah, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. On that note, I suppose, because today we're mainly going to talk about, we just want to break down a few fights. From memory, the fights I wanted to talk to you about was the Holloway fights.
Mm-hmm.
You can do a drinking game as well, guys. On the comments, you have to have a shot every time somebody bitches and moans about Alex having the belt with Max and that can be a drinking game.
Or if I say far out or something like
that. That can be the drinking game. So definitely the Max Holloway fights. I want to talk about that because I think they were brilliant fights, man.
Mm-hmm.
Both of you, and I like how it went backwards and forwards because you had 10 rounds between yous. You came out and implemented a game plan that he stifled in the first. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm saying this.
Yep.
You came out with a game plan. And correct me if I'm wrong, because we didn't.
About first fight or
both?
Both. Yep.
Because I never, like, just for audience, we never spoke before those. No, we never spoke before you fought Max and before you fought him the second time.
Mm-hmm.
I think I spoke to Joe in between there, but I never spoke to you then. So I'm not privy to that. So I'm guessing this.
Mm-hmm.
You went out there the first fight to try and take him down, or to implement it, but you couldn't, and then you implemented the calf kicks. Or was that the calf kicks from the start the plan?
No, look, to be honest, it was obviously looking for a takedown was always going to be there, but it wasn't something I was going to chase. You know, there was a whole stand up, you know, I was going to say formula, the game plan that we had to stick to. and it goes detailed. If we knew that he's really good with his distance, and so with things like that, we knew that we're going to pull up short, up high. So again, we had
explain pull up short and go up high.
He's when he really pulls the pressure on, he's in your face, so it seems like he's there. But early on, especially when he sees they're dangerous, and he's really good at distance. He's really good at touching and getting out of the way, avoiding punches, and then giving you some countering. So we had ways of going in. Again, I don't want to give too much away, but we had ways of getting in. And if that pulled short, there was going to be other options there that we needed to stick to. Obviously, the legs. He might pull his head out of the way, so we knew that. So we went to go up high, and they were pulling up short, like we expected. Like we knew this was going to happen as well.
Because he was going to lean back.
Yeah, exactly. So
because he leans forward, creates up like he paws with his jab.
Yeah, so when he's coming forward, like he's heavy on that leg when he wants to pour it on. But I mean, early on in the fight, he was still, getting his head out of the way.
This is first fight.
He's always still going to be pretty heavy on that leg, but he's really good at shuffling that feet and getting out of range anyway. Because again, he loves that jab, so he loves to stay heavy on that front leg. But he's very good at evading space. Is that the right word? Making space, shuffling his feet to get himself out. So we knew that would be the case. So again, the punches come up, we're pulling up a bit short, and we're like, all right, well, that's not there. The legs are. All right, let's start smashing the legs. And then not only that was always going to be a game plan because he likes to come forward and put the pressure on. As he's trying to jab, I'll just stick one into his leg, let him realize I ain't going to let you get your rhythm. He wants the momentum to start rolling his way. I ain't going to give that to him. So the leg kicks were a big part of that. It was a whole distance as a management that I was telling you about where the head wasn't there, but the legs will be there. Then when he's trying to be heavy on the leg to check him or whatever it is, maybe the head will be there. Then it started getting even deeper than that, where then I started finding the punches because of them leg kicks. The punches were landing. Then he realized that I was throwing kicks and then coming off with punches. Then he would get the kicks, pretend to counter because he knew I was countering him as he would. Let me explain this. Sorry, I'll get into detail. So I'll kick his legs and then he would try and fire straight away. Yeah. So as soon as I kicked, he was trying to stick a jab in my face when he realized he couldn't get out of the way. So then I would let him run straight into punch. I'll kick as he was trying to throw jabs. I'll come with overhand rights and hooks and whatever, letting him run into it. Then he started reading that after my kicks, I started firing. So he was running into punches. So he went there, pretend he'll come in, make me fire, and then go. Then I would change it up again because I realized that he was baiting me after.
How smart is he? Is he very smart?
These are little things that you wouldn't see. You'll just see.
No. But we were watching. That's why I'm interested.
A lot of people be, good game plan. He was kicking his legs and think that was it.
Yeah, no.
But I mean, it goes so much deeper than that. There was times where these inches.
Because that's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying at the start. Like that's why I was curious. Were you? Because I saw you try the takedowns.
Yep.
And you couldn't get the takedowns on him.
Yep.
And then I saw that vocabulary go back and forwards between you in the stand-up that now you're explaining.
Yep.
And that's why my question is, how smart is he when you're fighting him?
Man, he is. And again, I'm only getting in the physical side. There was that physical battle, and then the fight IQ battle that we were having. Physical battle, fight IQ, and then you had the mental battle where that's why we were talking a lot in there. That was because he's the type of guy, he wants to break you mentally and physically. He gets in your face and he will do it like he's not a cocky bloke, but that's just how he gets in your head and he wants you to know you're crumbling. And I had to let him know that I ain't fucking crumbling.
What was he saying to you?
Oh, just little things like, at the start, like I didn't think it was going to be like that. But at the start, there was times where, again, I pulled up short with some of the punches and he started doing like, there was a little thing where he's like, as if, bull.
The matador,
yeah, the matador. That's it. Little things like that. And again, I'm like, hey, we were waiting for this. We thought we might be pulling short. Don't worry. It ain't end here. We've got a lot more tools in our belt. We've got a lot more.
Did you say something back?
And I'm just like, oh, yeah, fair enough at the start. He's done a couple of things like that. And then I end up having to tell him, like, I'll start landing punches. I was like, ooh, that one got you. Like, just letting him know I'm here. And then there was times where I'm going fresh. I'm here to stay, like, later in the round. Little things like that, just letting him know that I ain't breaking. I ain't going anywhere. There was times where I remember I threw a kick. I hurt my leg. And he's like, oh, they hurt your leg. And he tried to come forward. And then I ended up landing some big shots. I'm going, I'm still strong. I'm still powerful. Don't think you got me. You know what I mean? Like, letting him know, like, I ain't folding. Don't even fucking bother. You know what I mean? Again, it was a respectful type of mental battle.
Yeah, shit
but
talking.
I mean, it was the shit talking, but it was purely just the mental side of things. It wasn't because that you're a little bitch. It wasn't like that. Half the time I was sitting there going, hey, you're a sick guy. Like, I literally was saying, like, you're a legend. Like, I was saying that. Even after, I remember after the fight, he was on Joe Rogan podcast. Oh, sometimes he's going, you're a legend, you champ. Like, I was saying stuff like, I was like, we try spinning back kicks and stuff. And I just respect people that are, that
are trying
game. Yeah, you know what I mean? That that gamesmanship, that I don't give a fuck, I respect that. So I'm like, oh, sick, cunt. How good's that? But at the same time, letting him know that, oh yeah, I'm having fun in here. I ain't going anywhere. And even later on, he'll think that the tide will change, and then I'll just stop it mentally and physically. Let him know that, hey, you ain't getting no momentum. I just kept, chopping that down. But again, I don't want to go too detailed into the fights. But there was a little chess match where I'm talking inches. There was he would bait me, make me go. Then I would know he was baiting me, so then I would follow up because he thought he was going to pull back and then come, but I would double the punch. So again, I'm just trying to make it as basic as I can.
You don't want to. Sorry, Alex, to interrupt you.
Yep.
But just to clarify this, you don't want to go too much into detail because you might have to fight him again, or you don't want to go too far into detail because of the audience.
Well, people probably might not understand where I'm going.
Nah, they love it.
And
they love it. Please go into
it. Not just that. Obviously, this is again like I want people to know that it isn't us just again they even want to just see us flat-footed and fucking just swing it gladiator style. Look, we all love to see that, but when you're going to talk at the top, there's levels, and you know what I mean. There's the little details that people aren't going to pick up on.
This audience loves it. So if you can talk about it,
well, that's what I mean. So again, there was times where so I'll throw the kick, and then he'll try and put that pressure on me still. So he'll try, and every time I throw a kick, he wanted to stick a jab in my face. But I knew that was coming, so I'd let him run into punches as soon as he wanted to get one on me. So he started running into punches. So he's like, "Oh, I can't do that." After kicks, he would like sort of fake, pull back, let me throw, and then come in. And then I realized that's what he's trying to do. So then I ended up, I would end up like, say I would kick, get out of range as he's walking forward. Then I'm talking, a couple of inches, or even holding a punch for an extra half a second. Little things like these little tiny details that were just trying to break my rhythm, break his rhythm. You know what I mean? Little things like that. So it goes right into detail with. We're doing this in so many different areas, but there was a little chess match that was happening the whole time, and then I just had to make sure I wasn't doing the same thing too many times, because he's a smart fighter. So he catches on quick, and he'll make you pay for it. So I just had to let him realize there's nothing that he's going to catch on to him, because I'm just going to give him something different every single time. While he was trying to figure me out, he was just eating shots, eating kicks, eating punches, and when he thought he had ants, he would run into something else, and that's why I feel like, when I felt like, I don't know what it looked like on the outside, but the whole time in there, every time he'd done something, I had an answer for, and, it wasn't going his way. Like so the battle inside, we felt we were winning the whole time, like no dramas. But again, when people can think however they want, you know what I mean? Especially, that first fight, there's a lot of people that are going to try and say I lost both fights, and people are entitled to their opinions, you know what I mean? But again, we felt we were well ahead that whole fight, and so did the judges.
I have a question for you. One of the combinations I've seen you throw, not just in that fight, but I've seen you throw this combination before, where from orthodox you throw a lead left low kick, and then you step in a southpaw and throw it down. Is that something that is natural to you to throw, or is there something that you saw as opportunistic against certain opponents? Or is it something that that's a nice combination you like to throw, like Aldo's liver shot?
Yeah, like it's something that I've used that work, but again, there's a whole like sort of formula of the ways we fight, and you can do it like these formulas, or like we said, like say wrestling and all that. You're gonna have principles, and there's gonna be things that you do, and you can use them in so many different ways. So that's something that, like, there's a formula, like we will get told a formula that that the team will have a formula. Good formula of how to do things, and then you could use it however you want. And that's something that not many people will do that, but that's something that's just worked for me. I've felt that it really works. But again, it's not something that you could just throw whenever. It's still broken rhythm, and it's something that I need to do things before that to bait them into something like that. You know what I mean? And again, I'm trying not to give too much away, because these are my tricks we're talking about here. You know what I mean?
Sorry to bring that up. It's just something that I find it, because when I say that, like, say for example, if I explain, like, sometimes I'm talking to someone, or sometimes I might be doing like a PT class with someone, like someone that thing, and I say like such and such guy throws this, or I might say Volkanovski throws that, but I try and and I say to him, like, this seems real simple. My mum could throw that, but my mum can't do the timing and the setup and know when to throw it, and that it's not a flashy combination, but like to throw that kick and then step to southpaw and throw it again. There's so many things that are happening with the footwork, with the timing, not getting caught on a counter, not getting caught because as you switch to southpaw, you don't want to get caught with a lead right hand down the pipe.
Yep.
You know, and to have got to the point where you got the timing down that you can throw that is very impressive. And that's why I just asked you about that combination.
Well, one thing that obviously worked with him is, again, he comes forward with that jab a lot. So, you know, I would either kick and then get out of the way because I knew he was going to come. So that's, again, when I say I was making him run into my punches because I knew he was coming forward, I wasn't just doing that every time. I'll kick him, make him miss. Kick him, let him commit, let him run into something. Then he'd be like, fuck. And then, you know what I mean? There was little things like that. So I kept breaking my rhythm and things like that, kept just changing it up on him. But with that one, that's why that one was working a charm with him as well. Like, you know, I kept landing that because he would come forward. But then he would go southpaw. It would still work beautiful. Like, you know, I can say now I'm going off track because I've explained that. But what you're saying with the timing of things and all that is totally different. But people don't understand, even with a jab, a simple jab, that I could use a jab in so many different ways. People be like, oh, he's only allowed a jab. That means he can only jab. But as in, everyone's going to see it coming. But I can change the timing of that jab. I can throw fake jabs in front of it. You know, I can half commit to a jab. I can fully commit to a jab. I can change the distance of the jab. I can loop the jab. Or, you know what I mean? Like, or, you know, just anything. There's so many different ways and timings and all these little things that I can throw that one movement. But then you've got all these other tools, all these other combos, wrestling, jiu-jitsu.
Can you explain when you're fighting Max? Because this isn't gonna be a segue directly, but it will eventually segue into his fight with Keita, which I want to get your opinion on. Can you explain when you're talking about with Max two things? The first one being he doesn't start as fast in the first and second round, and you are very, very rare, I suppose. Not I suppose, I know, in that you built, you know, you're short. Yeah, you do know this.
Really?
Right? I just didn't know if you knew.
All right.
So you're very short, very stocky, very powerful person, but you also have great cardio, and that's very rare. Usually, the powerful, shorter guys don't go the 5 rounds at the same level that you do. So looking at you and Max, you'd say that Max should have the better endurance when Max has very good endurance.
Yep.
But I think that, and I've tried to explain this to people before, you know, when you say he's fit, you know, and you're like, he's fit how? Do you want to, you know, explain that? Because that's just a broad term.
Yep.
Max, I think more than just being fit, and he's a cardio machine, he's very, very good at pacing the fight. And so he gets you playing his game in the first and second round where he's resting and he's doing stuff. And so the second question that I was going to say is he has a false distance. He creates a false distance using the jab and using the lean in. Can you explain the combination of those two things? And you obviously knew this going in. So did you go in there to push him in the first and second round, or did you just go in there to break his rhythm and that pushed him as a result thereof?
Well, again, I was going to break his rhythm. And see, it's funny where you look at the fights and everyone will like I touch all of, like, they're trying to say, oh, touch fighting, or what would they call it? Like, you know, as in,
you're just touching each other,
touch fighting and all that, as if I was the only one doing touch. That's Holloway's style.
Yeah.
Holloway is a pitter batter puncher. Like, he goes, he just boom, boom, doesn't commit, and that's why he can go for a long time. He won't commit, knows when to commit, but a lot of time he's not committing. A lot of times he's just in your face, sticking things in your face, like you said, like, you know, blah, blah, blah. Then he just comes forward and marches punches. As soon as you start to break, he pours it on. And that's when you really see him come forward. That's why it looks up here. People might say slow starter, but he's trying to get in their head, wear him down. And, you know, obviously everyone's dangerous in the first round. Everyone's dangerous. So everyone's eager to throw a punch. Everyone's eager, you know, trigger happy. Everyone's a fast twitch the first round. That quickly changes. And, you know, Max is really good at, you know, doing that. Like, you know, obviously being where he's still got to be safe. Sometimes he still gets touched because while he's trying to wear him down, but then he really pours it on. And he's just a cardio machine. Again, he's not the most explosive fighter. So he's like a Nate Diaz, Nick Diaz, and some people have just got different, like, sort of, again, some people are very explosive. Some people are like, you're just really endurance based, I think Max is. Max, Nate Diaz, and all that. With me, I feel like I'm lucky enough where I've got the best of a few of the worlds. Like I've got that a bit of the explosiveness, or like and then I've got that endurance, that muscle endurance and that as well. Now I can go for a long time as well. So I'm lucky in that sense. But with him, I was never thinking, oh, yeah, I'm gonna outwork him. I just knew I had to be fit enough to be ready to shut his momentum down, or break his rhythm and all that the whole way through the fight, not let him start to get an edge. So that I just knew I had to be ready for that. With the second fight, I just got myself ready where he had to change his game a little bit.
That's now I want to ask you.
You know what I mean?
One more thing. The first fight,
mm-hmm.
you did have trouble taking him down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Did you nail a takedown in the first fight?
No. Like got to like the clinch and all that, but I never got the takedown.
Yeah, you didn't. You didn't get a
which I'm okay with. Just so people know.
No. Well, you won the fight.
Yeah, I'm okay. No, I'm okay with a lot of people like going, oh, he didn't get the takedown, but
no, of course.
You know what? DC touched on a word. Goes, now this is another thing Max has to worry about. You got what I mean? This is another something that. All right, this is another part of the puzzle now. So I'm trying to figure out this puzzle. Now this cunt's gonna. Sorry. Now this bloke. Sorry, that's the last word I wanted to say. Now
well, you've said it about 4 times.
What, that word?
Yeah.
Sorry, I apologize.
He knows. He said it about 5 times.
I know I've swore. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Which but just Max, he's not calling you that. In Australia, that's a term of endearment.
Yes.
It's like saying dude.
Yeah, exactly right. We're mates. But yeah. So that was like, man, now you're going to throw this stuff at me. Now this is another part of the puzzle I need to figure out. So that's again, like I'll go there. If it's not there, Max is really good at takedown defense as well. So he does things right. And I'm the type of person that if it's not there, I'm not going to waste copious amounts of energy on it. So I feel like it wasn't there. He did well. All right. Now we will let it go. Maybe work punches off the break or whatever it is. And then we'll see if we can get deeper or in a better position next time. But yeah, so that's in the first fight, that's how it was. But the second fight was obviously a little bit different. I cut you off, didn't I?
No. Please.
I tend to do that.
Talk. People don't want to hear
talk.
Me. People don't want to hear me, and they want to hear you. But I was going. First of all, that's not only sound fighting advice, but sound dating advice too. Don't spend copious amounts of energy if it's not on. Just let it go. Just let it go. And start again. Reset.
I've been off the market for a while, so I don't know.
Spoken wisely though.
Yeah.
You should do that. You should have like a love channel or something with Alex Volkanovski, and you read love poems like Richard Mercer used to do. 106.5.
Well, there you go.
The Love Doctor. So
the short man's love doctor. Maybe I got your back.
There you go. There you go.
See,
in with Max, we were speaking before, and I'll let you elaborate on it. You didn't find him particularly strong when you were trying to take him down, but you said that his use, and this isn't a secret about Max, like everybody knows it. So, you felt that he was able to get that whizzer, which he does on everyone, and he's able to frame. But what's the differences when you're saying he's not particularly strong, but he was able to stop that every time, and he's not just with you, with just about everyone, he's able to stop. What is it what does Max feel like in there?
Yeah, again, he's not freakishly strong. So there's times where you can tell someone's just got brute strength, but then you got people that are just always in the right position at the right time, which is very effective. And he's a good example
100%.
of that. He's a very good example of that. So, he's not freakishly strong, but he just knows, he's not only knows where to position for his height and for his body type, he's nailed it as well. You know what I mean? So, and that's just for repetitions. After repetitions in the gym, obviously he's got a clever team behind him as well. And then he's he's the type of guy that'll just drill things until he has a perfect, and he's got that down pat. So again, what I like to do, again, without giving too much away, with a lot of my fights is there's things that people do very well, like whatever it is. But sometimes you can use these good skills that they do against them, because they do this so well. So now we know their direction.
Don't go there, or do something else.
They're going to go here because they do it very well, and you know what I mean. And it works 20 times, every in a fight. So it's going to work every time for him. So all right, we know he's going to go here because he does it so well, and it's how can we change that? You know what I mean? Well, what's another option we could do? So that's we've did like good example is Aldo as well. Aldo is the type of fighter that he's always in the perfect position. So if you move an inch back, he's an inch forward. He's always at this perfect distance. He's always at this perfect squareness to you. If I shift over, he's going to shift and be there. So he's going to adjust. Like he won't even know. This is just muscle memory. This is him being in that position 24/7. He's always base. He's always powerful. That's why his takedown defense is always good to do too, because he's always in the best, his most based, comfortable position. He's always there. So we use that against him. So like we would shift, and then he would have to adjust, and would attack him off shifts, or like I'll throw a fake. He would have to have to slip. So then I'll go where his head was slipping. Little things like that. There's little puzzles that we figured out, and that was a good example of it. Where some people do things very well, but sometimes all right, now how do we work around that? There's so many ways you can do that. And again, I'm just trying to give you stuff without giving too much. But
No, I understand. What happened?
My coach is going to kill me as well.
No, but this is good.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you know what the thing is as well. Like in all reality, like the guys you're fighting guys at the top level as well. It's like, because sometimes you get people, they message you and they go, "Fuck, man, honestly, this is real messages." They'll go, "Did you watch such and such guy's breakdown of such and such guy that your guy was going to fight?" Like, so say for example, I just say you for example, did you see that they did a breakdown on Ortega? Have you watched it? And you might watch it, but the reality is you guys have been watching each other. Like, you know what I mean? Like they know what you know, and Aldo his team is not stupid. They've got a great team. They've been around forever, and they were breaking you down as well. And it's who gets off on the night.
Yeah.
Because what the other thing with fighting, this is what's crazy, is you could have done all of that, and then you walk straight into a fucking right hand.
Exactly right, man.
And it's done.
Exactly right.
And it's like people don't understand that. They'll go, when your game plan works, your game plan worked, and you're a genius.
Yep.
You could have the same game plan.
It was working the whole time.
Yeah.
But then
boom, you ate it.
That game plan didn't work,
and that's it.
What a shit game plan.
Yeah, well, you
Who fucking thought of that?
Yeah. And you're like, that the
Are
other
we allowed to swear? Because I'm swearing a lot today. It's all good.
100%. My daughter's first word is going to be "fuck" in kindergarten.
We're Australians. Come on, mate. This is how we roll.
It's all good. So what happened in between the first and second fight with Max, and then what happened in that fight?
Yeah. So it's funny what we just talked about how we're going to study each other, and we're going to have game plans, but not many people can change their style. Not many people can completely stick to a game plan and change what they're used to execute a game plan. It's not easy. Not many people can do it. Not many people at all. I'm lucky enough to be. I'm a fighter where people thought I was just a wrestler with over and right, that pressure fighter. I've showed that I can do things completely opposite. So it would have been hard for guys like Aldo to sit there and try and break me down, because they would have thought this fight and this whole complete different fighter comes out. Not many people can do that. Where Max did that, again, there's not many people, and Max did that. We
both did.
Yeah, we both did.
That's what's interesting.
Well, I had to make more of adjustments during the fight, which is even harder again.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
it's even tougher again, where he made adjustments from the fights, and again, that's still a massive. That's, you got to give credit, because to change a whole style, something that this has already been talked about. I've heard Eugene break it down and all that, so I don't mind breaking it down. Where with Max, again, how I was saying, like, he likes to, he's got a stance where he's a bit heavy and he likes to evade, like, he's good with his footwork to get in and out of the range. So we still expected him to do that. We didn't think he was gonna go, his legs a bit closer together, more upright, and really worry about checks and just stay in a stance like that. We didn't think he would do that. We didn't think that's his game. We thought, for him to really change his game, that he's going to really struggle elsewhere. But he did. He what people were saying. We called him Muay Thai Max. So he went from Max all the way to Muay Thai Max. That's what he did, and he did it well. Like, he stood his ground. He didn't worry about going back. Now he worried about just, if you come forward, I'm going to make you run into things. And we didn't expect that. We didn't think, we just didn't think that their team would take that on, and you got to give them credit for that. So they did, and it was a bit of a surprise, and you've seen it was a slow start for me.
What happened then? Why was it a slow start? Because he's not notoriously, but like we said before, like a slow kind of starter.
Yeah,
and you make him work.
Yeah, man. Like, it's just
Was
See,
it hard for you to adjust?
Well,
or
no,
was
I
it-
mean, I don't like to make excuses either, but like, obviously
just make one, Alex.
there was so many things that was different about this fight. Obviously, you got no crowd, everything like that. There were so many things that was, and I was just, I just felt like I wasn't there. When I say I wasn't there, like I just felt I was there. I was normal. I was clear as, but it did not feel like I was fighting. So it was weird. It was weird where I was just too chill. I'm so good at keeping myself composed in the heat of the chaos, like with the big crowds, and I feel like I got an edge on a lot of fighters because a lot of fighters, they might get a bit trigger happy, they might get a bit too excited. I'm really good at keeping myself composed. I try to do the same thing with no crowd, and I was just well underdone. Like I was just like way too clear. I remember saying to my corner, I'm like, boys, I'm fucking clear. Talk to me. I'm going to hear everything you say because I am way too clear right now, man. Like, it was weird. It was a weird feeling. And, so everything was forced. Usually, you train, you drill things and obviously your reaction time's on point. You drill things and, you're waiting for opportunities. And, when you're firing, when you're going good, your reactions are doing well in these opportunities. But my reactions weren't there and I could not. So I was waiting for opportunities to do things, waiting for him to do that. And I kept doing it. And I was just, my corner were telling me, you got to go, Alex. Stop sitting back and waiting for opportunities to come.
At which point was this?
This was after first 10 seconds. So they seen in the second at first, and then definitely after the second, they're like, you need to do more. You need to go. You need to pull the trigger. So I need to make my opportunities. Stop waiting for opportunities.
Did you feel you were down at that point?
Yeah, of course, 100%. So we knew that obviously they were still, you look at obviously if you get the stats or whatever, you can see they're close, but obviously he had big finishes in both them rounds. And I know how fights are scored. So we knew all right, he's took these rounds. My corners are telling me. So
how hurt were you when you dropped?
I wasn't. Look, to be honest, I wasn't fully hurt. Obviously something happened there where I wouldn't just get to a knee, drop to a knee like that for no reason, but I was there the whole time. So obviously, maybe if something did quickly shut off, or just caught me, and I was already trying to palm his arms away as I was getting back up to my feet, both times. So I was there the whole time, but again, obviously they landed clean, and that's a big statement, especially at the end of the round. So we knew we didn't have them first 2 rounds. Third round, we're like, you need to do more. You've got to stop waiting, and you got to do more. Obviously, there's more technical things that we're talking about as well, but that's when I had to make adjustments as well, where. We're doing things, we're going one way, and he was reading things that we're doing. So then I pretty much had to go another way and had to use, he was using his right side, his rear side a lot, catching me with the rear side. So again, I don't want to give too much away, but I end up crowding more the right side. I was crowding it and landing a lot of hooks, a lot of jabs, and making it hard for him to counter me. There, if that it's sort of it's hard to explain and it's way too detailed, so I'm not gonna get into it. But and it's my tricks too.
But was that an adjustment? Was that an adjustment you made
in the fight?
In the fight, you said to yourself, or your corner said to yourself, which I don't separate because either whether they said it to you or you, but somewhere in that fight you had to make a physical and psychological and mental adjustment. To say I'm going to crowd this guy's right hand. Right, well, which can you explain not how you do it, but can you explain what that means for people?
I won't say that I thought of myself, crowd the right hand, but I tend to realize I make adjustments and I'm really good at playing what's in front of me. And I started what I realized I started doing this. But looking back at the fight, I sort of really understood what I did. But again, obviously we'll do more. That was key. I had to make my opportunities. Stop.
But what is crowding the right hand?
For those just meant he obviously landed that uppercut a couple of times. So I was coming in. I was I would come in and then he would get me with the uppercut.
Yeah, I saw what. Yeah, so I thought he was going to throw a front kick.
Yeah,
which he tried, which he did.
Yeah, so he would get me when I say he got me the right kick and the right uppercut.
No, but I thought he was going to throw more down the middle.
Okay,
because of the same reason of the uppercut.
Okay, yep.
Well, which I'm not going to give too much away either.
He was doing this as I was coming in.
Yeah,
so
I
would try
and
come in on an angle. As soon as he felt the jab, he ended up coming with uppercut and it landed a couple of times. So I'm like, all right, maybe I was only going one way majority of the fight, so I had to start going a different way. And I don't want to give too much away. So that's one reason why I don't want to talk about it too much. But when I say crowd the right hand, it was just don't be in the firing line of of the right hand. That's a
But you're moving
easy
in
way.
the direction of the right hand.
Well, I was landing the jabs and the hooks that way. So yeah, without giving too much away, like So
Yeah.
but yeah,
It sounds. You know what it's like? It's like he's done something horrible, like he cheated on his wife or something, and I'm asking him stuff in like this thing. So no, but
No,
I
but-
fully understand. So I'm
Yeah,
not.
but
I'm
I-
not going to keep fishing for it.
Yeah, exactly. So it was just it was a battle where again, easy way of putting it is I was going one way and trying to tackle off that, and then that wasn't working. So I end up going another way, and then obviously it gets a lot more complex than that. But that's what I mean. There's a lot of details, and these adjustments I had to make in the fight, and that's when you started seeing me land a lot more jabs, a lot more hooks, and obviously the leg kicks and all that were always going to be there. It was always going to be an obstacle for him to check because he started checking, and then firing off his checks and things like that. So just so I had to make adjustments. But key was you had to go more. Like, you know what I mean? And that was something the boys were like, going, stop waiting for these opportunities. You just need to go more. And Joe was telling me, like, we need to start looking for the takedown as well. Obviously, look at the takedown. Not only will that give him something else to worry about, but obviously, let's get on top as well, because at the first 2 rounds it wasn't working. So after the first 2 rounds, let's start changing it up. So that's where the direction. And we're lucky enough to obviously not get hit with some of the big shots, and then land a lot more punches, and then to get the takedowns as well. So again, and we knew obviously in the 3rd round, like we need, like my corner's telling me, like, you need these next 3. You need to do something. No more waiting. You lose this round, that's it. So I'm in a bad position. All he needs out of the next 3 rounds is one more round. And
So you're absolutely cognizant of the fact that you lost the first 2.
yes, yeah, we knew that. 100%. Yeah. So we were again like we know how.
No. But I'm saying you're not delusional.
Yeah,
like
exactly
it's not like
right. You know
I
what
won
I mean?
every round. Like no,
Yeah, exactly right. So, and I'm gonna, even if I thought I won, I still ask. Like I'm like going, are we up? And they're like, yeah. You sure? We're good. Okay, we'll keep doing what we're doing. So then the 3rd round comes, and then obviously it's a competitive round. But we go then. We started we started landing the hooks and the punches, and we started pressuring more and crowding him a little bit more, and landed a lot landed more strikes. And then again, obviously, I don't want to get into it too much, but obviously you got commentary, and you got stats that were completely wrong. But obviously, if you look at the official stats, they show you I was well ahead in significant strikes and strikes in general in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So we were confident, and you got to remember, we don't see these stats, we don't hear the commentary. So we're confident that 3rd round you got, but you need these next 2. And so this next one we go 4th. All right, again, they're all competitive rounds, and again, that's something that people don't get, like, because he done big things in the first 2 rounds. They'll never 10-8s. Let's be realistic. You don't get 10-8s from that. But the third round was competitive, but yeah, we know we edged.
But
it.
even if you gave him a 10-8 in one of those rounds, he still wouldn't win the fight.
It'll be a draw.
It'd be a draw.
Yeah,
and he wouldn't have got 10-8 in both those rounds.
But then again, so then without talking about too much, but then we started getting the takedowns as well. So that obviously was big for us as well.
What was the adjustment? He gets the whizzer, he puts a frame on, and as he steps out, you caught with your left leg the inside trip.
Yeah.
Was it something that you knew when he square off on you, or is it something you just adjusted?
Mate, to be honest, like, we were drilling a lot of things because we knew that what he was going to do. I'll be lying if I said that was something that we really focused on. We didn't, but I mean, we were in that position a lot as well. We put ourselves in these positions. So, my team, that's one thing. Like, we can tell you all these things you got to do, but you need to be put in these positions, and you need to feel it. You need to feel it. So, obviously, my team done such a great job of seeing what happened in the first round. Like, well, we need to fix this. We need to put you in this position. We need to find a way around it. So we had ways of getting around it, and then putting ourselves in that position. So we knew that he was going to get that whizzer, and he likes to, without, again, I want to get so technical, but with that whizzer, and then as soon as you get over a center line, he's so good at framing that elbow and just turning you right over. So we had to just nullify that. And then as I was walking him to the cage, that opportunity was there because I knew what he was going for. So before I got stuck on the cage with his deeper whizzer, I took the opportunity of getting that inside trip before I even got him there. So as he was ready to get himself into that position that is always comfortable, I snuck in that inside trip before he could actually get there, which was good and it worked well. So I'm glad we made that adjustment. But yeah, so that was big. Obviously, again, all the last three were definitely competitive rounds, but just edging them and then having them takedowns were big.
I watched as I was watching the fight, because what we did a live commentary thing, so I couldn't hear but I've heard the commentators since, anyways. But in fairness, like I don't think, because like as I was watching it, and I remember people were like, "Oh, you hate Alex," blah blah blah. And as I'm watching, Dave was there as well. We watched that fight together and we did a live commentary. Like, and I'll try to explain this to people, man. Like, first of all, the judges cop a lot of shit, right? The judges always cop a lot of shit. But you're not a fucking judge. That's the first thing I always say to people. And sometimes the judges are shit. Do you get what I mean? But in a fight like yours and Max's, it was a fucking close fight. And you could be like, to me, this is how I saw it. First and second to Max, fourth and fifth to you. The third one, we could have split it. That's how I saw it. But one of the judges didn't even see it like that. Do you get what I mean? It was a different scoring.
Exactly, yes. They gave him the fifth round. The judge that gave him the fight gave him the fifth round.
That's right. See, and I didn't see that.
Yeah.
If anything, if you said to me somebody gave it first, second, third to Max, I'd be like, all right.
You could see that.
Yeah, okay, cool. Where
you're going with that,
You know, like same Rob and Romero. For sure, Rob won first and second. For sure. Romero, I'll give him third and fifth. And the fourth, I'll give it to Rob. But if they said to me they gave it to Romero, I'd be like, oh, fuck. Okay.
Yeah, it's nothing you could do.
It's not. I don't agree with it, but it's a fucking close fight. You know what I mean? I don't agree with it. I thought even the third round, Romero, but Rob came back.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm fucking biased. I was biased against you, but not against you, for you. You know, but when it happens, I'm just sitting there, and I'm just like, fuck, that was a close fight. The things I'm saying is like, one, as a judge, people don't understand this, and I try and explain it. Like, watching a fight, judging it is different to watching a fight, commentating it.
Yep.
And watching a fight with your mates. It's different criteria.
Yep.
That's the first thing. The second thing is the judges are cage side, and they can see things that you can't.
Exactly right.
And that's what people don't get. There's things where in that fight, and I wasn't judging, but I can't hear the shots that you land versus the shots that Max lands. I can't see the face of the, you know what I mean?
There's camera angles where you might not even see if that punch landed.
That's
There's
it.
so many things that come into play,
and you can hear it.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, like your corner. I'm not saying your corner, your guys, but I'm saying like a person's corner. So your corner, they know that you got hurt. The judges can hear you. Do you get what I mean?
Yep.
But like me, the people on TV, that we can't hear that. We're not privy to that.
Yeah.
We're not privy to the change in energy that people can see, that the judge can see. And these are things that people that aren't in the fight game, they don't understand it. So when they shit on the judges, which I'm not sticking up for them either, because there are some decisions that I'm like, dude, were you watching the fucking tennis or what were you doing? But also a lot of the times they get it right.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? A lot of the times they get it right. And I was just looking at that fight, and I was first and second to Max, fourth and fifth to you, and the third.
And another thing, like, because it was the third round, in the timing of that, there was a lot of things that come into play, as we'll just explain in a few of them. And then there's a whole narrative of, fuck, Max has turned it around, right? Since the first fight, how much has Max turned it around? So there's this narrative they're going in the head, and they're obviously seeing all this good work that Max is doing. And sometimes you can get a biased view that you're not even doing it on purpose. But again, he's changed it around. And you're like, wow, like you watch the commentary again. I end up watching because a lot of people obviously going, fucking, no, he got abused for it pretty bad. He even talked to me about it. He goes, fuck, everyone was tearing me a new one about that commentary.
What happened?
Oh, just everyone was obviously, he was getting like,
who?
Oh, just a lot of fans be going.
No, but who talked to you about it?
But Bisping. So I was talking to Bisping saying like that he ended up getting missed, like, I wouldn't say death threats, but he was getting people going, you're fucking pathetic, blah, 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 and just, carrying on. So like again, but it's, and I don't blame him because again, like he's watching a fight. I'm not saying he did things on purpose, but again, there's a narrative where, look, my mum actually, it was funny. She's like, got the shit. She's like, She's like, "Did you hear him in the last round? He's going, go Max!" Like she was so dirty on that because he's like cheering for Max or something. And she's like, "That's bullshit," and I'm like, "Come on, man, it's just heat of the moment. It's all good." Again, I just give people the benefit of the doubt all the time with everything. So it was a tough fight to judge, I reckon. But I feel sorry for the judges.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
100%.
Because you always get, like you said, you feel sorry for them because it's a hard job. But then, you got professional judges that will gave it a man. Again, it was a close fight. You know what I mean? And then you got these official stats that can still back up what they're saying. The last 3 rounds, I was over 10 strikes for significant strikes more than Max in each one of them last 3 rounds. And so if anyone really had an argument, I've got numbers that I could be, say if it went the other way, I could at least show numbers and be like, "Hey, what about this?" And then they'll be like, "Oh yeah, but he had cage control and blah blah blah." And they could do that and have that argument. Okay, but they say strikes come first, then cage control. Even though I had the cage control the last 3 because I started getting the takedowns and I started pressuring anyway. But again, man, it's a tough game. Like it's a tough sport. There's so many things that come into play. And that's
How
why
are you and Max?
Hey,
how are you and Max?
Oh, we're good. Like I'm all right with him. I don't hate anybody. But again, like you hear him talking about, again, he's got a big fan base and he's sitting there going, "Oh yeah," he starts throwing numbers about 90% of people are, no, I won't row, and he's going, or he's starting trying to throw these numbers. And I'm like going, "Mate, you want to throw numbers? All right, you want to throw numbers?" Again, I'm trying to stay out of it because I'm trying to, I'm over it. You know what I mean? But you want to throw numbers? Okay, let me show you real fucking numbers. I'm not going to show you your fans' numbers. Like I don't care about. You've got a big fan base. You can throw them numbers all you want. I got like numbers right here showing that I landed a lot more strikes than you, showing I landed the takedowns. And you got to mean like I've got something to back up what I'm saying. You can't just tell me like, "Oh yeah, my fans were saying I won." So again, it's obviously you're always going to have that argument, but I'm the type of person that I'm not gonna make excuses.
You will fight again, I think.
Well, mate, like it's going to be a big fight too.
Yeah, at some point you will fight again. Like
it's going to be a big fight too. So obviously,
like I'm saying, even down the track.
Yeah.
Let's say you both went to lightweight.
Mm-hmm.
There's such a storyline between you,
but it's
inevitable.
And again, like people, when I'm sitting there, like talking about, because that's getting thrown around the rematch. I'm like, "Oh fuck, I had the rematch.
Yeah,
I beat him. I gave him the rematch. Whether you think it was close or whatever, I gave him that chance. I won. All right, like whatever. You know what I mean? I hear what you're saying, but let's fucking move on. So let's move on. So we're gonna fight. I'm not saying that I'm never fighting him again. But right now, I've got a division. I've got contenders that are waiting to get a title shot. We can't just keep fighting till you get the winner that you've been waiting for the whole time. That's not how it works. So I'm not saying that won't happen. I'm just saying right now, I've got a division to hold. And Max is already accepted. Max is fighting soon. You know what I mean? So that shows you that he's ready to take on the number one guys or take out the guys, show that he's still number one. Then we're gonna have to run it back because I'm easy. I'm easy to understand. Whoever's there, number one contender, whoever deserves it next, gets it. So, you know what I mean? So I want to go through the contenders. But again, people go, "Oh, yeah, Max deserves a rematch. He got the rematch." You want the trilogy, you want the quadrilogy, whatever you're going to call it. It can go on forever. But let's just be fair. If he gets back there and there's no one else, we've both wiped out the division. Let's fucking run it back. That'll be big.
Well, I'm very close to a segue on this into his fight with Keita. But I will say this about that 5th round. In the second fight, I did feel that for the first time in his career, he kind of slowed down towards the 5th. Did you feel that?
Yeah, I felt like he's not in it. I wouldn't say his mannerisms. That's the right word. Yeah, I wouldn't say
his mannerisms.
Yeah. What did I say?
I don't know. I'm just saying. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Like you could. I didn't say that wasn't crazy, but like I could tell that. Yeah, like he did slow down. He wasn't as sharp. His counters, his reaction wasn't there, and then I started picking up more shots, easier shots. It doesn't mean he didn't have his moments in that round either. He still had his moments, but I could see he was definitely slowing down. And I guess I could sort of see it in his face as well. I remember in the fight I could see it, and it made me do a little bit more as well. But at the same time, he's a type of guy that he's got his mental state pretty. His poker face is pretty good. So I did notice a little bit. But I didn't notice too much, considering how he physically felt to mental. I did notice a change in both, but I could see that he was slower. I could feel that he was a little bit slower, and the reaction wasn't there. But mentally, I could still see it. I still thought I got a read on that. But again, it wasn't as telling as his physical tell.
I hope you fight again because I'm.
So it's people. You see, you appreciate like what went on in there.
That's
see, a lot
why
of people forget that, and that's what's sad about it. It's like these chess matches that we're talking about. People that understand the game, they're still talking about it like fucking like the adjustments they made and doing this. Just there's so much in it that, and obviously being such a competitive fight, like and people like. That excites that sort of stuff. I see that in the fight, I'll be like, "Fucking, how good's that?" I love seeing that sort of stuff. But again, people are forgetting that they're just trying to, we've got guys that are screaming, "Alex won," there guys screaming, "Max won." You know what I mean? That's all that's where all the focus is.
No, it's not even for me. Like I was saying to you, and we've spoken off camera about this a bunch of times. It's not even about who won. Obviously, I'm going for you, but it's not even about that for me. I just like, of course, it is about that because I want you to win, but that's just like a biased shit. That's like if you ask my mum if I'm in the wrong, she's going to say no. But but yeah, like it's not about that. Like I really appreciate the fight, and I think the way you guys match up, unless one of you catch each other, it's always going to be that kind of fucking chess match,
Exactly
so
right.
I mean, you both got very hard tasks in front of you. But the thing is, I think because of your storyline, inevitably, no matter what happens, you will fight again. And I'm a huge Max Holloway fan, and I really like watching him fight. I really like watching you fight. But more importantly, I think in the fight game, there's people that the way they're made and the way they match up are really good dance partners. I feel that you and he are like that. And I feel like, Rob and Romero were. Nate and Connor are like that because they're both like shit talkers, and they're both. Nate's just a funny dude, doesn't even mean to be. You know what I mean? And it draws you into those fights. There's a lot of those people. JDS and Cain Velasquez doesn't have to go the distance. It's just like it could be two guys that knock each other out different times, but there's just something about that. They make Cormier and Miocic. It can go forever. And I want to see that fight again the third time, just because I want to see that the whole thing. One thing I will say about you, I don't know if this is going to be a compliment or not. It's definitely a compliment. It's definitely a compliment.
Well, you called me short though before, so like,
mate, there's 8-year-olds that are short. You don't have to feel bad.
I don't feel bad.
You're taller than most 8-year-olds.
Most.
But I was going to say one of the things. Because I've been lucky enough now, I've been doing a little bit of work with you just because of the lockdown and that. And a few things that I've noticed, and I'm not going to go into what they are, but this isn't a criticism. There's some things that you don't do that well, but the things that you do well at a very high level, and you're able to implement that. And you're able to implement that. There's a vast discrepancy between what you don't do well on the mats in practice. But what you do well when it counts, is like they're polar opposites. Because there's guys that can do everything well on the mats. Then you get them on in training. Then you get them in the thing, and you're like, where did the fucking where did that guy go? You know what I mean? But you do the things that you do well. You do them really well at training. But then you're able to implement those things at the highest level, really well, world-class level.
And that's when you hear people talk about being well-rounded. This guy can wrestle, this guy can grapple, this guy can strike. But then you've got how well do they put it all together? How well is their timing of putting them together? When they put them together, like this, so that's not them, just not them. Oh, punches into takedowns. Oh, he does a good 1, 2, 3 shot. There's like really setting up takedowns and being clever with it. And like I'll wrestle guys, straight wrestling, wrestlers, I'm gonna find it very, very hard. MMA, even though they're MMA fighters as well, I'm taking them down and they're not getting no takedowns of me because I'm putting it together. I'm giving them so many other things to worry about. These things that I do very well are effective because I've timed them right and I know when to do them. And I know how to save energy that way too because I know the right time to do them, when not to type thing. So, and then, I can notice massive difference. There's guys that'll take me down wrestling. We spar, they ain't taking me down. And I'm taking them down and I'm breaking them. And that's where I feel like when you talk about well-rounded and how people put it together, it goes into fine detail, and we'll touch on it there with you touching on it with a bit of it. But so there's a difference. There's a big difference there.
Another thing is, when somebody says such and such guy is good at jiu-jitsu, he's got really good jiu-jitsu, he's got really thing, and you like, or he's a really good wrestler, and this has happened a bunch of times with people when they say to me, this has happened with guys, and they'll say, oh, he's such and such is going to do this, or such and such is going to do that. And I think, no, he's not going to do that, because, right, especially if I know, or if we had something to do, or if I had something to do with that training, and I know what's happening and I'm privy to that. Obviously, it's like you, it's hard for me. If I've trained someone or trained with someone, I can't say, like, I can't talk about guys that I've trained with, like, and say, oh, I think he's going to win because of A, B, C, and D, when I know what he's going to do. Like, I can't talk about, oh, you know why I know Alex is going to win? And I'll tell you, I can't say that. But it's like, you're good at jiu-jitsu, that's cool. But that's such a broad statement. That's like me saying, I like cake. What kind of fucking cake? Chocolate cake? You like mud cake, pavlova, what? So you're good at jiu-jitsu, but even the guys that are good at jiu-jitsu are not good at everything. Is he good from half guard? Is he good is he a top game player? Is he a half guard player? Does he shoot a double leg and then go to a single leg and then go to half guard and play from there? And if you understand the vast differences and you understand specifics, you see guys that are comfortable taking a good jiu-jitsu guy down and put him in a position that jiu-jitsu guy isn't what he does. You follow it 100%.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
And a good example of that is going to be Ortega.
Let's go straight to it. Let's do it.
I was like, is that where you're going with this or what? Is he trying
No. I actually wasn't.
But I mean, with Ortega, like, everyone, like, he literally says it, that I don't need to worry about getting taken down. No one's going to take me down because I know I'm fine in jiu-jitsu. And his jiu-jitsu is world class. His jiu-jitsu is legit. But I mean, this is MMA. Yeah, you got a lot more different obstacles. One, I'm allowed to punch you in the face. Two, you got cages that they're going to get in your way. And a good example is, even I was grappling a guy today, and we end up being near the cage, and then, like, he's trying to do, like, all these things, like, don't get me wrong, his jiu-jitsu will be pretty good. And he's like, oh man, you just, like, your legs are too strong to move. I'm like, oh yeah, well, I've got a cage here that I can keep myself balanced on. You know what I mean? Like, I was doing it just to show him that ain't working here. What you're doing in the middle, all right, I'm going to have problems. And I did it purely just it was just an
ego trip.
Yeah. I don't think I was trying to be a prick, but I was just standing there and letting him realize, going, you ain't moving me.
Yeah.
And, like, he's like trying to do this. He's like, far out. I'm on the wall here. You know what I mean? I'm tripoding myself on a wall. Like, you ain't going to you can't manipulate my balance here. Like, you know what I mean? I'm jamming myself to the wall here. So you can't, like, in the middle, I can't do that. He pulls me one way, I'm going to fall that way. But if I'm just balancing myself on the cage, you only can take me one way. It's going to be hard when I'm fucking like this.
Yeah.
But you get what I mean? Like, so there's little things, and I was just, it's a total different world. And again, don't get me wrong. Like, am I going to play jiu-jitsu with Ortega? No, I'm not going to play jiu-jitsu with Ortega. Will it go to the ground? Am I going to be really scared to go there? No, I won't. Is there going to be ways I approach that? Yeah. Am I going to give that away now? No. But there's going to be, you know what I mean? There's again, like you said, like, there's these positions, and he's real good off his back, and you know what I mean. He's really good at getting to this position, but I can manipulate him getting to that position by doing this. Yeah, there's principles that we know about. I can nullify these principles, and that's enough.
How do you see Ortega? Do you feel that he, again, this is a blanket statement. People go, he's improved a lot. I'm not saying he hasn't, by the way. He also comes from a very smart camp. He's a smart guy. He's actually quite a big guy for the division. Not massively thick, but tall, rangy. Do you feel that he has improved in leaps and bounds with his striking between the Max Holloway fight and the Zombie fight? Or do you feel Zombie was a good matchup for him in that regard? Or do you feel it was a combination of both?
It was
or any other thing.
It was a bit of everything, but he did change his style and the way he approaches the fight as well, because he doesn't usually fight like that. He was always been the type of guy that, like, he would just scrap and look. He was an opportunist, so he would look for that big finish, look for that big submission. Like, it was pretty. Obviously, it's a bit more technical than that, but that was sort of how he would finish fights. A lot of times he was copping a beating, pretty much, and then getting the finish. And people forget that. So I always knew that was the type of fighter he was. So when he was fighting Max the first time, I knew that Max was gonna,
Pick him
yeah.
apart.
And then when Zombie and that, purely from how they fight, Zombie and Ortega, from going on how Ortega usually fights, I thought Zombie would win. Then Ortega completely changed his style and the way he approached the fight, and pretty much approached the fight how I would fight them. As in, but I feel like I feel like I would get a lot more technical and a lot more detailed. But you get what I mean? Like just shot selections, fight at range, like simple as that. It goes a bit more detail, but you get what I mean? And then I could do that to both of them. And it'd be I'll do what he did to Zombie to both of them. That's how I'll sort of picture it. Where now he's changed it up. So now he's, he showed that he's got a real understanding, whether he probably understood it before, but that wasn't his direction ever. Now he's like distance control, his shot selections, a lot of these things. So he's changed. I think he's done some his team as well. They've done some like research. I've done some studying. I'm not saying on me, but I mean, I feel like he's or me or whatever, or our team or whatever it is. But I feel like there's things that he does that I'm well aware of. Do I think that he's leveled up? I do think he's leveled up. But again, I still feel like things that he's the game that he's trying to sort of go in the direction he feel like, if he feels like he's going to go that direction with me, I feel like I'm still levels ahead because I've been doing it for a lot longer, and I feel like I've got a real understanding of, you know what I mean, and then I've got my my natural abilities, and then I've got my reactions and like all these other details that I've just always been in these positions. I know that, and my body just knows what to do. So when you try and do something, I still feel like there's learning that needs to be done there for him as well, and a bit more experience in these sort of positions. And again, I'm trying to give you a bit without giving too much away at the same time. But again, if the fight that he fought with Zombie, I feel it was definitely levels above. I thought he fought a lot smarter. Easy way of putting it, shot selection, distance control. But will that work on me? The fact that he's was able to improve that much in that short amount of time, maybe he can prove again. But I still believe it's just not enough, and that's no disrespect to him. But I still believe that he's dangerous with looking for the big punches, and then obviously looking for the submission. But I believe most of my guys in my division, that's sort of their only chance. There's only a few guys that I feel are better than me. This is going to sound okay. I'm confident. I'm not cocky, but I'm confident. I feel like there's no one in the division that's better than me. Can they beat me? Yeah, it's MMA. They can land that shot. They can land that submission. People can say I'm saying that it's only a lucky shot, but this is our game. That's how I feel like the majority of my contenders can beat me. I feel like my hardest fights, stylistically, have already been done.
So why do you feel? Because even though Max beat Ortega, why do you feel that? Because Ortega's got a lot of. I see him in a way more dangerous than Max. In a way, not better, but I think matching up with you, I think the difference that he has with his jiu-jitsu, I think, is better than Max's striking against you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, and I feel like I thought you were going to hurt Max more with that right hand, but I think you broke that right hand.
Yeah, the first fight.
Yeah, in the first fight. And I actually said to people, I think Alex is going to catch Max with that right hand. Whether he's going to knock him out flat or not is not the point, but you did catch him a few times.
Yeah,
and that's how you broke your fucking hand.
Mate, he's known for his chin. You know what I mean? And obviously I'm talking a big game. I'm going to finish him. It was obviously you're always going to do that. I believed it. But again, he's known for his chin, and he showed that his chin holds up well. So there was times where I seen he would even go cross-eyed. Like I'd land big shots, and you'd see him over here, and he's looking either side of me. And it was just sorry. I turned my phone off, but the watch is going.
This guy's an animal, an absolute savage. That's how dangerous he is. He doesn't care.
But there was I was catching him, and then boom, I'm thinking far out, and he's still standing, and then come back to it pretty quickly. And I'll be going, ooh, like that, gotcha. And he's like, yeah. And then he's back to it. So I've got to give him credit with his chin. He's known for his chin, and it held up well.
But then why do you feel with Ortega that there isn't that do you feel that there's a danger there, or do you feel like do you feel more sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. I meant, do you feel that the hardest matchups were behind you?
Mm-hmm.
You don't feel Ortega's as bad a matchup for you as Max?
I don't think a bad as matchup. I don't think it doesn't mean, but again, I mean matchup stylistically, and that's going real deep. But I mean the chances, like the potential of my opponents winning. That doesn't mean I'm saying, oh, they only got a 10% chance of winning.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean you're doing
Ex-
one day a week training.
Yeah, exactly
Yeah.
right. It just means that I think with Max, I need to be up. I need to be up scratch. I need to be fit. I need to be there because he's the type of fighter that could still beat me on points. You know what I mean? Where I feel like he could still outstrike me. He could still fight IQ me or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So it's harder. There's a whole game plan you need to stick to, and you need to be sharp the whole way through. Where do I feel like that with Ortega? No, not as much. Do I feel like I still got to be careful in a lot of positions? Yeah, fucking no. If I do one lazy shot, that could be it. You know, if I if I don't do it properly, that's all she wrote. That could be like, am I going to be scared to take it down? No, but I mean, am I going to approach takedowns a bit different? Yeah, I will. So there's going to be ways, but I feel like there's easier solutions to sort of nullifying these things from happening. And so I feel like, I just feel like stylistically, but again, this is something that excites me as well. That what I know now, or the fighter that Ortega was there, who knows what fight is going to come? So I need to be prepared. Who knows if he's quadrupled in skill again? Like, you know what I mean? I feel like he leveled up. What if he levels up again? It's a problem. So I need to be prepared for that. So I'm going to be making. I'm not, like you said, I ain't training once a week. I'm going to be training, 7 days a week. You know what I mean? And but again, I lost track of where I was going there now. With Ortega, I'm having a full blank here. Where were we?
Well, I think we were just like overall, we're just discussing he's got these particular skills.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, that's where I was going. Yeah. So with him, he's got these skills, and again, who knows what type of fighter he's going to be then? And what I know now, this is with the direction I was going. Sorry, what I know now might not be enough in a couple of months' time. You know what I mean? I could be. The thing is that the game's evolving so much. People are getting better. People are doing their research. People are getting knowledge. They're studying fights, and what I know now, or what I know now, won't be enough in 6 months. I've said that a few times, so it's exciting. That means I need to evolve every time. So as long as I'm trying to stay ahead of the game, I just want to be at the front the whole time as well. So if I get complacent, these guys will level up and evolve with the game, which is exciting because it's people. I was asked not that long ago about where am I, like from 1 to 100 to my skill level? As in, I'm like, oh, well, that 100's never going to stop. That 100 doesn't stop here because the game's evolving. What I know now won't be enough in 6 months. So that bar is just going to keep getting higher and higher, which is exciting. I can just keep going. I don't care if I'm 90% and I just keep staying 90%, but we all moving together. I'm moving with it type thing. So that's it. That's exciting. But again, I just feel from what I've seen from my opponents right now, I feel like I'm a better fighter, and they've got more of a puncher's chance and all that. Can that change in a couple of months? Yeah, maybe. But right now, that's what I feel. I feel like my hardest fights are behind me right now. But in 6 months, we don't know if that makes sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. Does Ortega
Getting warm in here now?
do you want a drink or
No,
something?
is this mine?
Yeah, that's yours.
there we
That's
go.
yours. We can get more water or anything. Do you feel Ortega in particular with his jiu-jitsu? What are the dangers that they present to you?
With his jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, his jiu-jitsu in particular.
Yeah, like his jiu-jitsu in general. You know what I mean? This is going to be a position where if I'm sitting there playing jiu-jitsu with him, it's going to be hard to break him because he's so comfortable. Even when he's tired, if I was starting to break him and I decided to take him to the ground, I'll put pressure on him. He's starting to crumble. We go back to the ground. That's his world. Now he doesn't have that pressure on him anymore, even though he's got my weight. But this is a world that he's so comfortable. He could be half knocked out and his body's going to do the right thing because he's been there a billion times. That's his world. So that's going to be a problem. You know what I mean? Going there. So, there's got to be other ways that if I do go to the ground, I've got to make him uncomfortable in ways that he's not comfortable in. So again, like if it's
Are there things that you've seen?
Yeah, well,
with his are there chinks in his jiu-jitsu armor that you've seen?
Yeah.
There
Yeah,
are.
there are with a lot of fighters. Again, it's just
No,
a
but
whole
with
different
him in
world. In a
particular-
cage, it's a whole different world.
With him in
Well-
particular, is there something with his grappling? And so let's call it grappling, not
Yep.
jiu-jitsu, because we're starting standing. There's a whole bunch of other stuff.
Mhm.
You can still call it jiu-jitsu. I don't give a shit.
Yep.
But I'm saying we're talking about the wrestling component as well.
Mhm.
Are there chinks in his armor in his grappling? Because he is an amazing grappler,
Yep.
an amazing grappler. But are there chinks in his overall grappling that you've looked at and said there are places I can make you uncomfortable? Have you already ascertained that?
No, we haven't already done that. But I mean, when I say in jiu-jitsu, you're talking about, so studied enough where, again, without giving too much away, there's ways that we need to approach the way we get into the grapple, the way we even just get into the clinch or whatever it is. There's going to be ways you're going to get into there, and there's going to be ways that you are going to sort of even approach your grappling with him. You know what I mean? Like, again, I could sit there and be like, oh yeah, I go this position. He's not that good in the half guard. But again, that's his world. He's going to find, like, he should find his way, again, pretty comfortably, because this is a world that he's so comfortable at that I feel like will be very hard to mentally break him there. He's going to find ways to get where he's comfortable a lot easier than if I was on the feet and I was giving him problems on the feet and I'm pressuring him. It's hard for him to find an answer. It's hard for him to get away from that. I'll go to the ground. There's going to be ways where he can, all right, give me a second here. You know what I mean? Like, so that's his world. So we again, do I want to take him there? No, I don't want to be there the whole fight. But do I want to show the world that I can take him down if I want? Yeah, I do. There is there's something inside me that wants to be like, I'm going to show him that I can take him down. How am I going to do that? Well, I won't tell you that. But how am I going to approach the grappling? I won't tell you that either. But can I take him down? Yes. Will I? I think so. But yeah, I just got to be smart. Again, there's obviously a lot of things that he does well. He's very dangerous in certain areas, but I'm going to have my ways to sort of nullify that, to give him the less chance of getting them finishes.
All right, now we'll segue. Hey, Dave, should we shout out the sponsor? Let's shout out the sponsor. So we've been very, very lucky to be sponsored by Manscaped. Please use the link that's up on the thingo. Use the code FAB to get your 20% off. This thing that you see here, my head, my face, everything doesn't happen by accident, people. You can have the whole body look like my face and head. So by using these products, this is the beautiful little carry bag that we have here from Manscaped here. I'm shamelessly giving props here to our sponsors. You have the clippers. This thing is actually very, very good for chafing, man. Like if you run or whatever, this fucking thing is gold, man. If you run, training, whatever, chafing, very, very good. This has come in handy to me actually because I'm learning to surf, having moved here. Shout out to my two surfing coaches, who I think are listening, Pip and Joel from Coaldale. Big shout out to them. They're teaching me to surf and fucking get bad chafing, man, with the salt water. and this thing is unbelievable, this preserver thing. Big fucking recommend this. So yeah, hit the link, man, and put in my name for the code FAB and hopefully get you 20% off. And man, if you're learning to surf or you're running or doing anything, I strongly recommend that chafe thing. Whatever your habits are, manicuring habits and whatnot, and whatever manscaping habits, that chafing thing is fucking gold. So yeah, let's use that as a segue now to Calvin Keita versus Max Holloway. And do you need to use a bathroom? Anything?
No, all good.
All right,
all
cool,
good.
cool. Calvin Keita versus Max Holloway, and potentially, I mean, both of you have very big tasks in front of you with Ortega and Keita respectively. But should you both win, you could be facing a third fight. I'm sure you're not thinking about that right now, but it's obviously a fight that you guys are watching respectively.
Yep.
How do you see this matchup going? Who do you think wins and why?
This is a big This is a big fight for Max and Cater because I think stylistically, the fight that Max Holloway always likes the fight, the way he fights, Cater's a problem. But I mean, so I think this is what's beauty about this. What's exciting about this is you get Max Holloway, who's going to have to show a whole different side of him. You know what I mean? He's going to show a lot more tools. He's going to have to show again if he just wants to stick to his guns and play that boxing fight with Cater, he's going to have problems because Cater can box, Cater can fight, and so that's why I'm really really looking forward to this one because again with Max. He is well rounded, but you haven't really got to see him use that. Like he hasn't needed to, if that makes sense. With me, you've seen him change up and use a lot more knees and kicks and things like that. So I feel like he might go that route. Again, they've got a good team, so they're going to go wherever he's going to bring grappling. I guarantee you, his grappling and clinch work is underrated. I feel like we might see a bit of that
from Max.
Yeah, from Max, I feel like we can, and which will be exciting. Let's see how it goes.
Keita grew up wrestling too.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
He's a good wrestler.
I didn't know that. But again, I just feel like with Max, I feel like he gets to show a whole different side of him. If he doesn't, can he win still? Yeah, I think he can. But it ain't going to be an easy fight with Cater if he just wants to sit there and box with Cater because Cater has tidy hands. And he showed that he's got a decent gas tank. So obviously with his fight with Cater, with Zabit,
yeah,
he come out strong, finish strong. If you're towards the end. So again, this is an exciting one. I think Max has to do more than just box. But again, like you said, he's got the I didn't know that he grew up wrestling, but a lot of them did. But that doesn't mean Max can't go that route.
No. And
again, he's got a smart team. Whether it's breaking him down and nullifying Cater's boxing with clinch work and things like that. You know what I mean? Like go on that route. Whether it's that route, just to slow him down and get in his head that way. Punches off the break or whatever it is, you know what I mean? I feel like he's going to show a different side of him. If not, it's going to be a fun fight, but it's going to be a dangerous fight for Max if he just wants to stick to his guns.
I have a question. Just watching Keita fight myself, I see he plays with a jab like Max, but he's different. I think he's got, my opinion, he's a little faster than Max.
Yep.
And hits a little harder.
Yeah, so he goes, yep.
He hits a little fast, he's got a little bit of pop. But they're both counter fighters.
And
Cater likes to throw that jab out, hit you with a jab, throw the false distance. You throw your jab, and he counters over the top. And if you play that game with him, I haven't seen him really struggle with that. Where I've seen him struggle was with Moicano and with Zabit, where they're starting to throw volume. I think Moicano threw 3 times the amount of strikes and hit him 3 more times than Cater did. The volume got to him, and with Zabit as well. But Zabit started to slow down, and then Cater came on, but it was a case of too little, too late. And
I'm trying to remember the fight with. So he fought Moicano.
Yeah,
and what happened with that one?
Moicano just threw about, I don't know, I mean something like, say Cater threw 150 strikes. I'm saying please, it was something like that, and Moicano threw something like 300 strikes.
Okay.
And he landed like the amount of same strikes that Keita threw.
Okay, yep.
And so he just kind of drowned him,
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Well, that shows you again. I don't remember that. So that's a good point you're doing, because how does Max fight? You know what I mean? Like, exactly. So I see where you're going with this. Yeah.
And that's why. But you've fought Max, so I'm curious as to what you think. With that little point that I said about those two guys, like, do you think that Max fighting a version of himself and Keita has a little bit longer reach as well? Again, the reach in the UFC, they do it like wingspan, eh? It's
they
not
do it that way. Yep.
Yeah,
they do it
and
that
so someone like yourself, I know I remember saying this about you. I said I think one of the things like Max's range and his length, and everyone's like, no, Alex has got longer arms and everything and I'm like, dude, he's not a fucking chimp.
Yeah.
You know what? Like you're a lot broader.
Exactly. Shoulders.
Yeah. And so when they do wingspan, I try to explain this to people, man, and they're like, no, his reach is a lot. And I'm like, dude, he's not a chimp. To have that kind of reach, you'd have to be a chimp. So I think Keita's a little broader, but he's a little quicker and he's got a little bit more pop, which when they match up like that, how do you think Max deals with another counter striker that's a little faster, that's got a little more pop?
Well, that's why I think that's where you touched on Moicano, where Moicano is very sharp as well. He's got tidy boxing, really good fast jab, pretty explosive type of boxing as well. So I feel like maybe that's where he could have edged Cater. Where I feel like Max, again, like you said, he's more of a volume fighter, but he's not the fastest. He doesn't have the fastest hands in the world. You know what I mean? So I feel like he needs to do more than just play counter boxing with Cater. So whether it is setting up with kicks, giving him other obstacles, give him other things to worry about, then land his punches, or you know what I mean, whatever it is. I think he needs to do a little bit more than just boxing. You know, again, like with Moicano, what you said, but I feel like Moicano is faster and a counter fighter as well. So I feel like that's where he could have edged Cater in that sense. And I feel like Cater's probably, I think that was that his like first fight in or something?
I don't think he's from memory. Please correct me if I'm wrong. This is from,
actually, Cater come in first before that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think it was his first fight, but it was still relatively early on.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was still relatively early on. One of the fights that impressed me about Cater, and again, like I say this with people, and they go, but he lost that fight. And I think, like, sometimes, like, there's people that I saw Bam Bam fight Peter Graham.
Okay, yep.
Back in the day. Like, this is, I don't know. Did you?
I think I was there. Was that Combat 8?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah. I was there too.
Yeah.
And I already knew about Bam Bam just living in Southwest Sydney. I grew up in Southwest Sydney. But when I saw Bam Bam fight him, I was like, this guy's got fucking talent. Like, what? I didn't personally know him back then, but like, he lost that fight and Graham stopped him.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, this kid's got a lot of fucking talent. And it was in a loss that you saw it.
Yep.
Because he gasped, but he didn't bitch out either. Like, and people don't understand. You're a kid. Like, he was like 18, 19.
Yeah,
you're fighting fucking Peter Graham.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like people don't get that. You know what I mean? And like, you look at that, and in a loss, you see a lot in people. And I saw him when he fought Zabit, who I think you're going to have to fight him at some point as well.
Mm-hmm.
One of the better guys in that division. And I thought Zabit's probably going to have his way with this guy. And he kind of did for the first 2 rounds. And fucking Keita stayed in there.
Yeah.
And I think won the third.
Oh, yeah, but I think he definitely dominated the third. A 5-round fight, that was it.
Yeah, that
was it.
Yeah, and then
that's obviously a big problem with Zabit.
Well, yeah.
We've seen that. Like, that's a pretty obvious statement, but that's exactly, I agree with you 100%.
But he really impressed me because, like you've said before, and in a 3-round fight, you've lost 2. A lot of people right there, that just crumbles you. But this guy came back and fucking gave it to him. How do you see Zabit and, like, how do you see Zabit fitting into that division?
Man, again, he's got a lot of talent. You know, he's got a lot of talent, and he's very well rounded. He's really good at mixing it all together. But again, there's that gas tank problem, and people are going to be like, I can work on that. Some people, you know what I mean? Like, you can work on it, you can get better, but do I think he's going to be able to just, next fight he's just going to be able, he's going to have a gas tank and be able to get through it? No, because that's not his fighting style. You know what I mean? That's not how, you know, his type of style is, you know, he's a, would you say opportunist? But like, whatever's in front of him, he's going to go. If he's got space, he's going to do this spinning back kicks. He's going to, you know, you come into his range, he's going to throw him, and he's going to throw him hard. You know what I mean? He's going to shoot for big, massive double legs. You know, there's things like that. That's just his style, and that's why he looks good. He does all this flashy stuff.
And he's long.
So
he has to use that length.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, which I'll get onto the Cater and Zabit in a second as well. I want to get back on that. But with Zabit, obviously, again, he's very well-rounded, does a lot of things good. But with Zabit, you see, again, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have that gas tank, you know what I mean? That especially with someone like me or Max, you fight guys like us, it's a problem. Even half the guys he just fought, if they were 5-round fights, he lost. He would have lost like probably his last 3 fights if they were 5-rounders. So he's got a lot of work to do, whether it's approach, fight differently. But then is he going to be the crazy Zabit, you know, that people like watching because he does all this flashy stuff and looks really good? Will he look as good in the earlier rounds?
Probably and will he keep people off him?
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Right, exactly right. So, you know what I mean? That's what I mean by that's his style, and that's what he's good, and that's how it works for him. his style, and then his range and his body type or whatever. That's what works for him. So it's going to be hard to work on that gas tank. You know
Dude,
what I
and
mean?
what people don't get is when you're gassed, there's no pep talk your coaches are going to give you. There's fucking nothing. Like your body, your fucking blood vessels are no longer taking oxygen to the working muscles,
Yeah.
and they're not efficiently taking the carbon dioxide out. You're fucked.
Yeah.
Like this, you're fucked. You got no air. You're fucked.
And it's funny you say that as well. So if he is there and then he's been working on and he's started putting himself in uncomfortable position, so he's breaking in the gym and they're trying to get him to just push through it, he's not going to be the fight he was in them early 2 rounds. Even if you can suddenly get his mental side to push through that, you know, like you said, your body ain't going to move how it wants to be, and that's not how he fights. You know, he's more of a explosive sort of fighter. He can't just like Nate Diaz and pop and just like touch and all that type of stuff. That's not his style. So you know what I mean. Then all of a sudden his body's given out, and then he's got to try and change his whole approach of how he always fights, just so he could stay in the last 2 rounds. It's not going to end well for him.
And the thing is, your fighting style is like a footprint of your personality.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you can just walk in here now and I say, like when I introduce you to everyone, I say, hey, this is my wife, this is Alex. Dave, I introduce you to the neighbors, and you are Alex. You're confident. You're who you are. You're not gonna in the car stop and go, you know what? I want to be timid and insecure, Alex, and walk in here and be rude, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like it's as much a footprint of your personality.
Mm-hmm.
Like you might change the techniques and whatnot, but you can't. There's a thing, man. Like I don't like. I try to explain this as well to people, and you'll know exactly what I mean. I can watch your fights from back in the day, like your first fight.
Mm-hmm.
You fought, I'm going to shout him out, Gerhard Voigt.
Oh, okay, your first pro fight, yep.
Yeah. I know him. He's a good guy. He's a really good guy, which you won.
Yep.
And you can't see the whole thing, but I can still see you today in that fight.
Yeah.
You're a lot better technically,
mm-hmm.
but it's still the blueprint, the footprint, I should say, not like the DNA of who you are. It's still the same.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, 100%.
And so, no, you can't, Zabit, he can pace himself better. He can this, he can that, but you're still you know, like same as McGregor. People go, oh, he gasses, he's not fit. I fucking guarantee you that guy's fit, but he goes to kill you in those first 3 rounds. You know, if he can't get you out of there in 8 or 9 minutes, it's a different fight.
Yep.
But you got to get in there with him and survive those 8 or 9 fucking minutes.
Right.
Because he's smart and he's using the things, the attributes that have got him there throughout his whole life that he knows he's good at against you. Yeah. And you better be I sound like a McGregor fanboy, which I'm not. I'm actually not at all. Like I appreciate him fighting, but I use him because people first they're on his nuts for anything that he does. Yeah. And then he loses and he's fucking shit. And I'm like, dude, he's not shit. What are you talking about? The same, you know, when they talk about like he makes me defend him. You know, when they talk about like he tapped from Khabib's face crank, and they go like, what pussy and this and that. And I think, do you fucking understand what would have happened to your fucking face? And they go, no, it's just from pain, da-da-da. And I think, look, maybe you wouldn't have tapped, but Khabib would have broken your fucking face.
Mate, you could imagine the clamps on him too.
Fuck, dude.
They would put you like, what? You just crumble the face. Oh, yeah, I don't want to tap. I'll just let him crumble my face.
he will literally break your fucking face and go have a burger. You know, and like he wouldn't give a fuck. He would have broken McGregor's whole face.
Yeah.
Should McGregor have tapped or not? That's up to you. You're a super tough guy. You're a fucking lounge warrior. Probably cry when you have arguments with your mum, you know. But which nothing wrong with that, by the way. But people don't understand that. Look, if a guy like Khabib grabs your face like that, he'll break your fucking face.
Yeah.
It's not just pain. He'll break your face.
And by then, he's starting to wear on you. He's starting to, you know, he's starting to have his way with you now, and he's starting to crumble. And you can, now you had answers and direction of where you're going. Now they're starting you're not even getting close to getting out of them. It's not working for you. You know what I mean?
That if you, I know what you mean.
Yeah, like I mean, yeah. So like you know, there was things like there was still like you got to give Conor credit for some of the studying they did when he was on the ground. He was doing a lot of good things, but having Khabib on you is you can train all you want. It's not going to be easy, but so he was doing the right things, and like you know. There's things that Khabib does very well, and there was counters that you could tell Conor was working with. And while he's fresh, he's doing it. Then you start to crumble a little bit. You start to get tired. It's hard to do that. You're trying to do it. It's just not working. You're getting in worse and worse positions every inch you move. It's getting worse and worse. Then you got this guy about to break your face off.
And
Maybe
literally,
you
that's
know
what
I
will
mean?
happen.
Like you're
Literally.
tired. It's just it went downhill quick, you know. And then now I'm in a position where if you don't get it now, I'm just gonna have a smashed face, and it hurts. Like people are like, oh no, I just take the pain. I was like, it's fucking painful.
But it's not just pain, eh?
Hey?
Like a face crank,
Well,
it's not just pain. Like it will literally break your face.
like yeah, look, who wants to shatter their face into like into pieces? It's not good, you know what I mean? Like yeah, so it's exactly right. What we were gonna
Keita
and
Zabit.
Zabit. So with Keita, what was a bit of a problem for Keita, I thought. So again, he showed that he had a bit of mongrel in him, and he could eventually do it. How long it took him to try and adjust when things weren't going his way. Like he still tried to stick to this because again, you give Zabit space. That's his world. Don't get me wrong. When you don't give him space, it doesn't mean he crumbles. He's actually a very composed fighter. Even when you put him, like say, he's very comfortable at this range. I get here. It doesn't mean he's uncomfortable. It just means he can't get off what he usually does because that's not where it does. So he's composed. I give him credit because he stays composed even when things aren't really going. He's got this poker face. It's just that blank look that just doesn't change. But so Cater was in this range and like it wasn't going his way. The first round was not going his way. Second round, he tries the exact same thing. I'm just like, I could already see that Zabit was starting to tie, and I could see that Zabit, this isn't working. I mean, Cater, this isn't working for you. Change it up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, start pressuring him, start getting in his face, make it a fight. Like, this is not going well for you, especially halfway through the second round. The same thing's happening. You need to adjust. And they just would not make an adjustment. He waited till like halfway through the third round to be like, oh, I need to put pressure on. Puts pressure on and breaks him like that. And then it looks like, mate, you done that second round, you win that fight comfortably, I thought, because I seen him breaking after the first Zabit. So it was for me to see that, and I was like, man, like that's why I feel like Max again, their team, they're smart, they're clever. I don't think can Cater change much. Can he prove me wrong? Yeah, he can. But from what I've seen, that's a problem.
How quick do you feel he should have been able to change?
After the first round, he should have changed something. I'm not saying all of a sudden change again, become a pressure fighter, but that range that he was fighting, he was trying to sit back and counter, and like that what you were talking about, sit back and like sort of bait him. But Zabit was at a range where he could throw his fancy stuff, and he was just having his way with Cater in the first round. All right, let's change it up. Whether it's slightly, whether it's a little bit of footwork or whether it is me committing more with my fakes or committing more earlier the distance or coming in closer just to make, just to change something up. I would have just said, look, the worst part about it again is the fact that you've seen how bad the pressure fighters were going for Zabit. Every time the two, there was a blueprint already there for how to beat Zabit. You know what I mean? Like it happened the 3 fights before where they pressured him and he crumbled. It's not going your way. All right, I'm going to need to do what the guys eventually did and broke him, but I need to do it now. I can't lose another round and then try and do it, which is what he did, which surprised me. I think the blueprint was there.
Do you think that he would have learned from that fight and he may be able to adapt and change quicker against Max?
Yeah, of course he can. But I mean, I think it just took way too long to adjust. Maybe that's just me because I feel like I can adjust like that. But again, can he? Like you said, when you're there's some people that's them, yeah, that's who they are. And once you start getting things not going your way, or you start getting tired, it's going to be hard to pull this poker face, or you know what I mean. It's going to be hard to be someone you're not. Like when you were saying about that's just who they are. If they tend to change it, say if they did change that first round, you get tired, you're going to go back to what you are. You know what I mean? That's you. You know what I mean? So that's where they can do whatever they want, but as soon as they get tired, they're going to go back to who they are. Like, it's like when you're angry, you show your true colors. Oh, I'm going to pull a poker face. They get me angry. Next minute, they're carrying on how they usually do. That's just who they are.
It's the same thing. Like like everyone's friends when it's going good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? When things aren't going good, that's when we see. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's a very interesting thing. Do you think someone like Max has a vocabulary of different strikes, and I'm loading this question because I know what the answer is here.
Mhm.
So I'm saying to you, do you think Max has a vocabulary of strikes to give Keita the same problems that Zabit did in that first and second round?
Oh yeah, like I said
Because
before,
Max doesn't show the flashiness in the
yeah, he
kicks and that.
doesn't, but he's still clever. Like you know, what I mean, like even he's set up the way he approaches combos. You know, there's things. You know, some people be like, oh, he's you know whether
He's
they
basic.
yeah. Oh, he's got basic punches, but there's half the time he's doing that on
Yeah.
purpose. You know what I mean? Like, so
What's he doing, Alex?
what do you mean?
When you say he's got basic punches and half the time he's doing it on purpose, give an example of that if you
Oh,
could,
like
please.
again, like how I was saying with that jab. There's so many ways I can throw a jab. I can make a jab look like it looks ugly. So these people tell me, oh, he's got a shit jab. Like, oh, look how bad his jab is because they're looking at this textbook jab. This is how you meant to do a jab. This is how it looks like.
So what does Max do?
Like Max has a variety of different strikes. You know what I mean? Whether like again, I never want to give too much away, but I mean, there's again what you said. Like, it gives you a false sense of distance. Half the time he's just pitter patting, and people like thinking, oh, he hits like a bitch. Like he's not trying to hit him hard now. Pop, pop. You know what I mean? Here I am. Now here I am. Boom. You know, and then he changes it up. You know, I can throw a jab this way, this way, this way, this way. You know, he does that. You know, his punches might look basic, but there's so many ways of throwing them basic punches that he makes it so effective, especially when he's in your head and starts to break it. So I definitely think he does have a lot of tools to do that. That's what I mean. Like, I think Max can still beat him if they box. But I mean, I just believe there's problems there with Keita. You know what I mean? So I still think Max wins that. But there's a safer way if he tries to do this. Again, you know, Max is probably like, fucking no one can knock me out. I'm just going to stick to my guns and do my thing. So maybe he does that, you know, because he's a gamer, and I'm always going to have respect for him that way because he will stick to his guns no matter what. But I believe he does have the sort of the skill set to really change and mix things up and give Keita problems. And again, they've got a smart team. Maybe they're figuring things out that I can't see because I don't know how Max is inside the gym. I know what he's doing with his fights because he's doing this. You know, they're clever. The way he fights is a purposeful way he's fighting. Maybe that fight. Maybe he sticks to that sort of way he fights purely because he knows that's going to work for all these opponents. But then again, you know, I feel like he can show a lot more other things. Like, who knows what his wrestling and jiu-jitsu is like? You've seen him even give like, obviously Aldo was tired, but then you see him give Aldo big problems when he went to the ground. So you never know whether he clinches up and then gives him problems here, and then who knows? We'll see. But again, I definitely think he's got a skill set to really, really mix things up if he wants to. Can he win with just fighting how he always does? Yeah, maybe. But I feel like a safer route would be fighting that a little bit more smart with someone like Keita.
All right, let's move on to a different fight that I'm just curious. I know he's a teammate of yours, one of my favorite fighters to watch. Again, another person everyone knows. You fucking love this guy. I don't fucking love him. I think he's a good guy. Hooker versus Chandler. Who do you think and how?
Man, this is a fun fight as well. It's a good fight.
Three rounds. It is
Oh yeah,
is it
3 rounds.
Is it 3 rounds? I think it's 3 rounds.
Yeah, that's probably you know, I think Dan finishes it, to be honest. But I think 3 rounds is good for Dan as well. With this fight, I think it's a really good fight for Dan. Obviously, my teammate. So not only am I happy with the matchup, I'm happy with like the opponent. Like, because right now there's a lot of hype around Michael Chandler. Oh, yeah, he's a champion come from here, and people like expecting big things. And you know, I think he's getting fed a shark at the moment. You know, he's getting fed to the sharks.
I think it's a bad matchup for,
yeah, 100%.
For Chandler.
Because again, like, people don't really get to see. Like, I have to wrestle with Dan, and his wrestling is actually legit. Like, he's,
no, it's
he's
good.
tricky. Like, when I say wrestling, it doesn't mean like again, like, there's fight IQ, and when it's MMA, there's certain ways you're gonna. Yeah, he might not have the best certain wrestling moves, but you know, he's really good at counter moves with things, and then you know, then you got distance. Yeah, you gotta try and get in distance. Dan can fight at a real good range. Creeping in, then you got to worry about his crazy knees that come up the middle. Yeah, countering you coming in. Obviously, we know he's done really well with that as well. Then when you get in, he can wrap your neck up real good, and he's really good at doing that. You know what I mean? So there's problems everywhere as deep as he goes. Like, he's going to have trouble on the outside. He's going to try and find his way in. He might get caught coming in, And then once he commits, once he gets there, he's still in trouble. And then once he goes to the ground safe, he doesn't get the finish. Dan's really hard to hold down as well. And so, that's why I feel like this is a good matchup for Dan. I think that Dan will really look good in this one. Not that I'm not taking nothing away from Michael Chandler. I just mean stylistically. Yeah?
No. But so because I hope Dan Hooker wins every not just because I like him as a fighter, but every interaction I've had with him has always been a gentleman. And also, it's one of those things. Again, I try to fucking explain this to people as well. Like the whole scene in Australia is small.
Mm-hmm.
New Zealand, is closer to Sydney than Perth is.
Yep.
Everyone that's kind of been in the scene, like, dude, when people go, you know this guy, and I think, dude, I fucking watched Dan Hooker fight Rob Lacita.
Yeah.
He lost that fight, but this is like fucking more than 10 years ago, probably.
It is the same scene.
Yeah, it's the same scene. It's the same scene. So, like, of course, I'm gonna have
a connection.
A connection, yeah, 100%. And I remember Dan Hooker fighting at featherweight, and his mum helping him.
Don't ask me how he fucking.
Dude, no. I was with Rob in the sauna, right? And I look over, and I didn't like. I was never like. If I see him now, I'd probably talk to him. But back then, it was just like someone, they know you, but you're not.
Yeah.
Thing, and I was just like on a hello thing, but this guy was had this whole fucking suit, like he was in the sauna, and I looked at him, and I didn't know who it was. I just thought, oh, poor guy. And I sat down next to him, but I knew if you said to me Dan Hooker, I knew who he was.
Yeah.
But I had no fucking idea. I was sitting right next to him, and I saw it was his mum. I'm sure it has to be his mum. He never introduced me as his mum, but it had to be his mum in the sauna with him. Is it his mum?
I don't know.
She looks exactly like him.
Yeah, must be.
And I swear to God, I thought this lady looks like Dan Hooker. That's what I thought in my head. And I swear, and then I looked, and I had to look like fucking twice. When he was cutting the featherweight.
Yeah.
And I saw him take his whole sweatsuit off and everything, and did the like old credit card thing and everything. And I was watching him, and I was thinking, this guy's gonna fucking die. I didn't want to be in the sauna because all the paperwork I'd have to do. You know what I mean?
Mate, I'm hearing you. Yeah.
He's fucking huge, man.
Mate, that's what I mean. Like, again, I don't know how he did it. I don't even know how he does fucking lightweight. You know what I mean? He's a big lightweight.
Yeah, 100%.
He's a big lightweight. And to know that he did, obviously he's just got that commitment. He's a pretty hard man.
And he fought like at heavyweight or something back in the day.
Yeah, he's fought at a few different weights.
Yeah, people don't know that. I don't want to sound like a Dan Hooker advertisement, because we will talk about Chandler. Yep. And I know we're kind of asking you to play devil's advocate, but how can Chandler beat Hooker? We'll talk about that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with you with everything that you're saying. I think again, everyone's Chandler comes from a good team. He comes from a good team. Everyone's smart. Everyone at that level, everyone's smart. Like they're going to think. I just see just legit physical problems for Chandler against Hooker, and I see as the fight progresses as well, Hooker just having these physical attributes that you can't change. Like just his base against the fence, he's so long.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in the open mat, Chandler would take him down. If they had a wrestling match, Chandler would, I believe, beat him 10-0.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get what I mean?
Yep.
Maybe if they have just a submission grappling match, probably then I think Chandler might beat him as well. But in MMA, I don't think so.
Yeah, I agree with that. And with Chandler, so this is going to be weird because you're going to ask me, you're asking me.
I have to play devil's advocate.
How does Michael Chandler? What do you think for him? What's his?
You can't say what Dan's weaknesses are.
No, I'm not. Well, the thing is,
but what are Chandler's strengths?
I think he has to stick to his guns, but that's why I think he loses as well. You get what I mean? But I mean, because I think he gets caught there. I think he gets caught, and Dan gets a finish because of that. If he tries to outbox Dan, he's going to get bashed. So he has to stick to his guns, and the only way I see him successful is doing that. But I still feel that that's why he will lose as well. I just think that's why stylistically I think this is good for Dan. Can he grind Dan out and avoid submissions, avoid the knees, and Yeah, of course he can. Like, everyone has that chance. But I feel like that's his only direction.
He hits very hard.
Who's this?
Chandler as well. They
Okay.
both hit hard.
Yeah, exactly. Well, mate,
Yeah.
But Dan Hooker's got a chin, man.
100%. He does absolutely have
Dan
a chin.
Hooker's got a chin.
I'm going for Hooker, but
yeah.
I have to play. Like, otherwise we're just going to be the fucking Dan Hooker show. He has his own podcast. You can listen to it, the Dan Hooker podcast. This is not the Dan Hooker podcast.
You don't want to be too biased with it, right?
Yeah, but, because otherwise people go, you fucking
obviously, I'm biased. But again, like, you're always going to have that bias anyway, because we have seen so much of this person. But again, that's why I feel so confident in that, because I know, So, but again, like, I think it's going to be still a fun fight.
One thing,
Chandler, it's just a big step for Chandler. I think. Like, I think if Chandler can get through this, he's setting a statement for me anyway. Like, other people might not, but for me, because I know Dan and I know how good he is, that's going to be a real statement for me. I'm going to be like, fuck, Chandler really surprised me there.
I think like, if I'm going to say how I think Chandler could do it, he has to create that pressure, and he has to get Dan Hooker down. I believe he has to get him down, because if that's the only way that he can catch Dan standing. I don't think if they're going to have a kickboxing match or a boxing match, it's going to be bad for my opinion for Chandler. And that's not saying he's shit. I just think that Dan Hooker has
something else to think about.
Yeah, he has to. I just don't think they match up well on the feet from Chandler's perspective. On the ground, if he can get Dan down and start, even if Dan gets up, but if he can get him down and get on top, Michael Chandler has a very, very good uncanny ability to always end up on top. Even when guys have taken his back, he's got a really good thing that he does, real sneaky, where he gets a 2-1 on the arm when someone has their back, and he puts it over his head and turns into it and ends up on top. Good guys take his back.
Yeah.
So I do think that there are ways like, if he gets on top of Dan, he may be able to hold him down. He may be able to hurt him, and then that starts to open up. Dan has to, stop the takedowns, and that's where the big shots from Chandler can play dividends. Having said that, though, I do think that Dan is so good with his range.
Stop being so biased, mate.
It's a Dan Hooker podcast. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, I do think that Dan Hooker will win.
Yeah.
And it is hard, man. For me, it is hard. Like, when, especially, I go for the guys from. The only time I don't go for guys from this region is if, like, which I can't really think of anyone off the top of my head. Someone that you've run into a bunch of times and they're a fucking knob. That's when you go, dude, fuck, I don't go for him. But it's hard, man. Like, it's one of those things where, like I said, like, it's hard for me not to go for you when, like, I know guys that have fought you. I know, like, I've seen you as a little kid wrestle. I've seen, how the fuck, like, I'd have to be sick to be going, fucking thing. Or unless something personally happened where I'm like, well, fuck, hope you lose.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But Dan Hooker, I watched him I've always watched him because I knew people that fought him.
Yep.
There was always that guys, you fight guys from New Zealand, you fight guys from wherever, but then when you see him on the world stage, you're like, fucking go.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Like, I'm always going to go for Australian New Zealanders. I'm always going to have their back. Even Australians, I'm always going to have Australians back. I'm always going to go for the Aussies. That's it. That's just how I am. I'm going to be patriotic like that. If the only thing that can get in that is obviously teammates.
Yeah, teammates or you fucking.
Yeah. But I am all like, every time, and I'm vocal about it. Like, I'll be like, I'll go out of my way to let everyone know that, Jake Matthews is fine. Let's go, Jake. Or like, I want us all to, stick together, because at the end of the day, we're so small.
Yeah,
Australia
that's what
and New Zealand compared to the rest of the world. You know what I mean? Like, they don't want big things. They don't want us doing big things, but we like doing big things. Let's stick together and we can work as a team. Obviously, we can't always. I wouldn't say we work as a team, but to be honest, we are anyway. Look at the UFC social media page, Australia, New Zealand. I looked at Marvel, Australia, New Zealand. Like, you know what I mean? We're just categorized together because it's just the connection.
Well, I think
Whether people want it or not, we will always have a rivalry that's going to be good for sport, like when we're doing. But I feel like we're always
but
going to
there
have each
isn't
other's
even
back.
that rivalry.
No, it
if you
isn't.
go to Auckland, there's not like a thing where like there's that thing. They don't
isn't
not
like that. No.
no.
They're always going to be like Australia versus New Zealand. It's going to happen with a certain
Of course,
things, but
you're
there's never
playing
going
each
to be. It's never like.
Well, up until
you know.
1901, we were meant to be same country. But did you know that, Dave?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but one of the sticking points was they have a treaty with the Maori, and we don't have a treaty with Aboriginal people, for like the native people from Australia, and that was one of the main sticking points as to why we're not the same country.
Okay, yeah.
I'm sure there were other things, whatever. I'm not a fucking historian, but I know that that's one of the things. So it was very, very close, man. So, but man, if you go overseas or whatever, like if you go overseas and you bump into New Zealanders, especially if you're from Sydney, from the East Coast, or Melbourne. I'm from Sydney, so I don't fucking know. But if you bump into New Zealanders and you hear them talk, you're like, you know what I mean? They're the same thing, you know. Same as even if the guy's a knob and you hear him and he speaks, you can hear him talk and he's got an Australian accent. You go, where are you from? Da 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 da. Fucking knob, and walk off. But you hear it, and the New Zealand accent's the same. Like if you hear it, you have that thing, you know. So there's not even there's a rivalry, of course, in sport.
Yeah.
But there's a rivalry between Sydney and Melbourne.
Yes, exactly. New South Wales, Queensland. But then they play for Australia together. But you know, that's just all the club teams. You know, that's just how it is. But again, like you said, when you're overseas, especially in Thailand, when I'm in Thailand, you hang out with people from all over the world, but you always have that, like you try and explain something to them, like you say, I'm so like, oh, this happened. They're like, what's that? And then the New Zealand will be like, oh, no, he means this, like, because we know what we're talking about. Yeah. And even I actually feel like that's sort of even with England a little bit as well, compared, like, I guess when I'm talking to, say, Americans and that, I still feel like there's still a little bit of a connection with England as well, but obviously not as much as but that's how I felt when I'm overseas. Like when I'm having that conversation, I'll be like, I'll say something in terms we use. They have a sort of understanding, especially in New Zealand.
Yeah, New Zealand is like, to give also, because we've got people from other countries, like to give an example, like if you want to fly to Broome, which is northwest of Sydney, right? Northwest of Sydney, you have to fly 5 hours to Perth, and then 5 hours up or thereabouts, and then 5 hours or 4 hours up. That's like a total of 8 or 9 hours flying. If we fly to New Zealand, it's like 3 hours flight. That's how big Australia is. So, like, if you had relatives in Perth and you had relatives in New Zealand, the ones in New Zealand, you're going to visit them. It's much closer, you know.
Or the time zones. Like it's a shorter time zone. You know what I mean? Like Perth, like seems like we're 3 hours behind, where in New Zealand it's 2 hours behind. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
We've been very generous with your time, and I just want to take a couple of questions from the audience.
Yeah.
And to shout out our sponsors again, Manscaped, if you could put the link up, Dave, and our other sponsor, Dan Hooker, as well. So that we just did the advertisement. Just did an advertisement for Dan Hooker for 15 minutes. So yeah, guys, hit the link for that and put in the code 20% off. Put in the code, that's fab. And man, the great products, in particular the chafing product, man, because fucking murders me, the salt water does. Dave, do we have any questions from the audience? Anything in particular?
One of the trends that I think you've answered, but I don't know if you want to answer it. There's been a few comments about Henry Cejudo and your feelings.
Oh, Henry Cejudo, yeah, that always comes up. Man, look, he's retired, so you know, do I bother wasting energy on it? But again, like, he's just doing whatever he can to stay relevant. He's called out fucking everybody. Jake Paul, didn't he call out Jake Paul as well? Call out
Amanda
Jake Paul,
Nunes.
Like, Amanda Nunes.
That's my favorite call out. I love that guy.
Shevchenko, I think he has as well. But he's called out everybody. One thing that I have always said, you know, again, I've got my division. Yeah, I don't want to hold up the division by going lightweight, or you know what I mean. That's why even people are like, oh, the rematch again, the trilogy or whatever. I was like, oh mate, let's focus on these contenders. Let's focus on my division. You know what I mean? So that's why Henry Cejudo. Can it eventually happen? Yeah, I think I'll do it. But right now, I want to worry about that. There's going to be a time where there's no one else in our division. Our division needs to find a contender. That's when I will be happy to move up to lightweight, be happy to take on a Henry Cejudo or whatever. If it was a cross promotion fight, whatever it is, that's where I would find the opportunities. Right now, I've got my contenders, and that's it.
How is it serious between you guys, or is it just stupid banter?
I mean, just bit of fun. Like again, like I don't take nothing personal. You know what I mean? Like again, you can tell it's all fun. You know, it's Henry being Henry. He's calling me what's he calling me again? The
I don't know.
overgrown midget. You know what I mean? Like
But he's a little guy too.
I'm taller than him, but you know what I mean? Like it's
Are you taller than him?
yeah, I'm taller than him.
Like,
Come on, man.
No, I don't know.
Fucking hell, some shots on me, eh? Yeah, no, I'm taller than him. Yeah, I got a couple. I think I got a couple inches on him.
So if that fight happened, it'd happen at featherweight.
Yeah.
Right. Henry's a highly skilled fighter.
Mhm.
Do you see him being able to be big enough to fight at featherweight?
I think he could give people problems in featherweight for sure. You know, especially being a wrestler. So
He's not a wrestler. He's like the wrestler.
exactly.
Really.
So
Gold medalist.
Well, exactly. So I mean, like, it's not like you can't say he's just going to get completely bullied by everybody. You know what I mean? Like I guarantee he's had his fair share of wrestling absolute beast monsters twice the size of him anyway. But you know, so I think the fact
But his
that
fought is as light as flyweight.
exactly, I know. So again, you know, with striking in that way, whether you'll feel the power there a little bit more. You know what I mean? That, you know, especially then you got the ranges, and not only you got range and then power on top of the range, but I feel like well, you've seen it a little bit with what was it for bantamweight when he stepped up for bantamweight, got for not TJ, what's his name?
Cruz.
No, not Cruz. Before that, bald head fella. You guys will know what I'm talking about.
I got a mind blank.
Yeah, I'm having a brain fart as well. But yeah,
Can you look him up, Dave?
he's got the big kicks. He's actually on.
I know, but I can't think of the name either. I don't fucking know.
Friggin'
And I'm usually good with the names.
Yeah, I'm terrible with names, but I thought I'd get that one. No, not Reyes. But anyway, we'll get that. But you could see that there was like, you know, he had to really wear.
I know exactly what.
Yeah,
you're
you know what I'm
talking
talking.
about.
Remember when he was copping big kicks and that he was feeling
Moraes.
That's it. Yes. Moraes. So
I was thinking of the whole fight. Yeah.
So you could see in that, like, you could really see that, even that was bantamweight. You could see that the power and the kicks and all that was uncomfortable for Henry. He didn't fold, which you got to give him credit for, and then ended up humbling him and finishing him. So, you know, that was a pretty incredible. But you could definitely see, you know, wrestling and all that. I feel like even though Moraes, he can wrestle too, I'm pretty sure he's a bit of a brute himself in the wrestling. But
well, you saw him in his last fight, but then he got caught. The guy had really good hands.
Yeah,
which fucking did another mind blank.
Yeah, yeah.
But
he's actually he's on a bit of a downhill spiral at the moment, Moraes.
But he looked really good in the first.
Yeah,
at the start when he was doing this.
I missed that one. I missed that one actually, but I did see that he lost. I was like, far out, because you know, I was still expecting big things from him. But yeah, you can definitely see the size was playing a factor in that.
Okay. Anything else, Dave?
So if you could pick, who would you like to fight, whether it was someone from the past or current, who would be your dream matchup?
See, this is going to always come up, and you don't want to be boring, and you're like, but you like, everyone sort of knows the answer. I don't think everyone will be
Mother Teresa.
They're like, you'll be stupid to not say Conor McGregor. You know what I mean? Again,
that's who you'd like to fight.
Well, mate, I would, purely because everyone talks about money fights and all that type of stuff, but I've fought every other featherweight champion.
Right.
So there's still there. Let's be real. I'm planning on. I've already beat Aldo. Chad Mendes, Aldo, Max Holloway. I go and take defenses, but you're always going to get people mentioning Conor McGregor. I'm going to have 10 title defenses. People will still throw Conor McGregor's name out there. So it'd be good to be like going, hey, I'm the one on top. You know what I mean? But
would you fight him at lightweight?
Then you got the whole circus around the hype, then the money fight, all that type of stuff. You know, you'd be an idiot to say you wouldn't want that.
Would you want the fight at lightweight or at featherweight?
I'd fight at whatever you wanted. I'd put my belt on the line and fight him at a heavy division if you wanted. If they could even do that, I'd do it. But yeah, so again, it still makes a bit of sense because he was a featherweight champion. So you know, that's something that's why I feel like there's something there. But will he ever get to featherweight again? No.
That's why I was asking.
So do I have to go up to make that happen? Yeah, I would. There you go.
All right, awesome.
Well, that was the next question. Would you up to fighting?
Yeah, like I said, I've got my division, but when it gets stale and we need, you know, there's time while we're finding our division. I want to fight pretty regularly because obviously 2020 we didn't get to fight as much as we wanted. But when there's going to be times where we're waiting for a number one contender, let's take on a lightweight fight
Sorry,
or something.
that one, Alec, Dave. I think the longer one. I just saw the start of it. The one about travel restrictions. How has travel restrictions affected you?
Oh man, it has. Like I've been home. Like I travel a fair bit. Like me and Joe, we travel. Obviously, go to New Zealand, Thailand. Then it's going to affect you when you're getting over. Obviously, watching events and all that type of stuff. But not just that. We train. We like to train and travel a bit with training. So we've been home pretty much the whole year. Like a whole year, we've almost been home. Where usually it seems like every couple of months or less, we're training. I mean, obviously, we've got a real good relationship with City Kickboxing. We're there a lot, but we're working on getting us over there soon anyway. So we're just again, it's tricky. There's a lot of obstacles, but you've got to do what you got to do.
Okay.
You into spearfishing?
Yes, I am.
So am I.
Someone know that? Are you?
Yeah.
Well, you're in a good spot. Not a
Yeah,
bad
we should
spot.
go one day. We
Yeah,
should
for
go.
sure. Yeah, no, my mate is actually a professional spear fisherman. Like he goes in competitions, and he's abalone diver, and like that's all he does. Like he's been doing it. His family's been doing it forever.
That's
so he's
fucking amazing.
Like it's so it's good to go out with him. Like he just disappears in the water, and then you don't see him. 3-4 minutes later, he pops up just way down there, and it's a nuts.
That's another thing that's incredible. Those dudes that do that, like the free divers, because living here, I met a whole bunch of these dudes. And Richie Vass, remember Richie Vass? Yeah, he can hold his breath for like 4 minutes, dude.
Oh,
he's a big wave surfer.
Yeah?
He's
I know he likes to spearfish and that.
Yeah, but he's a big wave surfer.
Yeah, that too.
And they get held under or they die. But I've gone spearfishing with him, and like I'm shit, Plus I got my nose is all fucked up and my ears, so I can't dive deep. But he'll go he'll disappear, just and be gone. And I there's been again a few times where I'm like, this guy's fucking drowned, and I'm gonna be fucking stuck in a police station explaining it,
especially when it's a bit murky.
Yeah,
and like you're sort of like again, like obviously I'm pretty confident, but I want to have someone fucking with me, especially when it's murky, and he just disappears and goes away, and you're like, oh fuck, there's a shark here for sure, right? You start freaking out. But
how deep can you dive?
Oh, I go all right, like not anything what we're talking about with Richie Vass or Jack, but I can hold my breath for like a couple of minutes.
Oh, that's really
good. It's still good. But
have you always been able to do that?
No, just probably from being in their position and being fit, I guess. Helps.
Yeah. How deep do you dive? Do you 10, 20 meters?
What have I done before? I've done some, like we usually do it in feet. We usually says it in feet, and I couldn't even tell you. But I mean, 20 meters, could I do? I think
60 feet.
I might have done like 18, 20 meters.
That's
maybe.
fucking so deep.
I might have done 18 meters or something. I could be wrong. I could be. I don't know. That's pretty deep.
18 meters is deep.
That's me getting down there, hoping the fish is there, and get the fuck straight back up.
Are your ears
not looking
all
for them down there?
Are your ears all? Is your head going?
It does, but that's why.
I can't do that either.
You can't do that.
Nah.
Well, your sinuses don't
My sinuses like. Remember that time I was meant to go to training and I said I couldn't go. That's why I went spearfishing, and then I'll get a sinus infection.
Oh shit!
And normally I'd just say to you, look, I got a sinus infection. Don't worry, it's all right. But now because of COVID and that, I'm not going to rock up and go, hey, I've got a sinus infection. It's all right. You know what I mean? Like, and people are like, no, this guy's got COVID. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
I just stay home when it got a COVID test. But no, my nose just bleeds for days. It's just fucked.
Yeah.
But 20 meters is deep, dude.
Yeah, maybe it's not 20 meters. Now you're making me doubt what I'm thinking. But I mean, feet. What feet have I done? I'm trying to think because I know he always says it in feet.
Dude, I know, like, I've gone with Richie and he'll say to me, like, this place is like 30 meters or something. And I've never wanted fish that bad.
30, yeah.
You know, that you're going to dive 30 meters and fucking, I've never wanted fish that bad.
From my calculations, from what I like, obviously I know what 16 meters is or something. I'm pretty confident I'll do 16 meters.
That's so deep, dude.
Yeah, so I'll be pretty confident I'll do that. Now I'm backpedaling not from 20. But again, my mate Jack's probably gonna ring me up and get you full of shit.
We've had a few exaggerations from the fighters on this podcast before, but let's say it's 15 meters. No, but hey, dude, 10 meters
16,
is fucking
17.
Yeah, 5 meters is deep. And Alex, closer to 5. 20 between 5 and 20. So yeah. Hey, let's wrap it up, man, because Alex been fucking so generous with his time. This was meant to be a short podcast actually, because I wanted to do one where it's actually your history.
When I talk, it's never short, mate. I don't stop.
So no, hey, man, it was really good, man. It was really, really good. It was no. It was. We thank you. Thank you very much for your time. Thanks, Dave, for coming out as well, man, and doing the the switching and everything. And yeah, I want to get you back out to do one about your history, you know, as far back as we can come up. Actually, like the stuff we touched on before, like your dad, your family, who they were, what made that DNA, you know what I mean? That's the stuff that really interests me a lot, you know. So this was more about the fights and everything, which I really enjoyed. But if you know, would love to have you back on to talk about it. So
for sure, thanks for having me.
Thanks
you
for
so
everyone
much
watching. Hey, where
Appreciate
can people see you? And where can we buy your book?
The book, so the book you can go on because they got Alexander the Great Children's or Alexander the Great Children's Book. They got an Instagram page, or if you go to my website, that's always an easier one as well. Alexander the Great Volkanovski.com. It's a big one. But then I've got a YouTube channel as well. So if you want details, obviously social media at Alex Volkanovski. And then my YouTube channel, we're actually getting busy with that now as well. So we're going to be doing a lot of, get the camera crew and get my cooking, get the barbecue out, fishing, all that type of stuff. We're going to do as much as we can and get some, have some good fun. So that'll be good. So make sure you get on the YouTube channel as well. Alex Volkanovski. That'd be pretty easy to find.
Awesome, guys. Thank you very much. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Share it with your friends. Tell everyone. Go to Manscaped to buy your products. And guys, thank you so much for everything. Thank you for all your comments and for your support. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thanks.